Chapter 1261 Blood Path Demonic Immortal. You are looking for death. His dragon eyes stared at Xinu. Xinu raised his head to look at Fang Yuan, shouting, Master, leave quickly. Leave. Xinu, I will remember your loyalty. Ying Wuxie took a deep glance at Xinu, before leaving. He took the other two immortals and quickly retreated. Because Xinu risked his life to hold back Fang Yuan, Ying Wuxie and the others were able to smoothly leave the Licorice Regional Wall and enter Northern Plains. The moment they stepped on the grass of Northern Plains, Ying Wuxie took out Tai Bai Yunsheng from his immortal aperture. The latter had already woken up, but his injuries were extremely severe, his life was still in danger. Combining the four immortals' power, they immediately activated the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel and disappeared from the spot. Inside the dream realm, the battle had already concluded. The attacking demonic path bandits were all dead. The merchant caravan did not have it easy as well, as they suffered many casualties and injuries. Corpses were littered everywhere in the valley and blood filled the area. Uncle Big Beard, pull yourself together. Wake up. The young Fang Yuan was beside Gu Master Big Beard, looking at the terrifying injury with shock and panic. Someone save him. Fang Yuan shouted, his voice somewhat hoarse. But nobody came. Fang Yuan quickly ran to the young master. Lord, Uncle Big Beard was injured while saving you, he is going to die, please save him. He cannot be saved, the injury itself is not a big problem, the main thing is that he has been struck by a poison Gu, we have no way of saving him. The young master shook his head and gave a rueful smile. No, you have a way. Weren't you also hit by the same poison Gu? Fang Yuan persisted. The young master's expression sank. You want me to use a precious Gu worm for a mere outsider? Do you know this kind of healing Gu worm can only be used for a limited number of times? But, Uncle Big Beard was injured to save you. Fang Yuan argued. Even if he did not save me, I have father's secret guards who would have ensured my safety. The young master sneered, waving his hand at Fang Yuan, get lost now, how could my healing Gu worm be used on ants like you guys? Fang Yuan gritted his teeth and stared at the young master with clenched fists, not moving from his spot. Are you looking to die? The young master was getting furious. Fang Yuan, at this time, Gu Master Big Beard woke up and softly called out. Fang Yuan shook, quickly turning around and running to Big Beard's side. Uncle Big Beard, you are awake. Fang Yuan was surprised and happy. Don't oppose young master, you will be the one to suffer. Don't keep on begging, how could such a precious healing Gu be used on people like us? Big Beard smiled mockingly. But uncle, your injuries, Fang Yuan was very upset, choking as he sobbed. Plop, Xinu powerlessly dropped to the ground. He looked at the sword dragon hovering in front of him and laughed, I succeeded. Master was able to escape, haha Shadow Sect won't be defeated, long live Spectral Soul, ah. Fang Yuan grabbed him with his claws and forcefully crushed him to pieces. Loosening his dragon claws, rock fragments and debris were scattered over the ground with no signs of Xinu's original appearance. You're merely dying, what was the point of yelling? Fang Yuan sneered, picking up the most crucial piece from among the rock fragments. He then flew out of the Licorice Regional Wall and returned once again to Northern Plains. He threw the crucial piece of rock to the ground. Immediately, the immortal aperture inside began to absorb Northern Plains heaven and earth chi and formed a blessed land outside. Fang Yuan did not wait, instead activating Qi Luck Sensation to check the locations of Ying Wuxie and the others. Fang Yuan immediately discovered that Ying Wuxie and the rest were already extremely far away from him. HMPH. They used that ancient battle formation. But so what, you will all die at my hands, sooner or later. But this location, it seems to be in that earth trench under Zombie Alliance. Fang Yuan returned to his human form, slightly frowning. Of course, he was familiar with the location of Zombie Alliance's earth trench. Dark Flow Giant City was still hidden there, unfortunately, no one had found it yet. It was not strange for Ying Wuxie and the rest to enter it. Southern Border Zombie Alliance has already been destroyed, Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance's headquarters were besieged, but Northern Plains Zombie Alliance is still hidden in the earth trench. Looks like Ying Wuxie and the rest will once again go through a period of growth. This was an expected situation. Dark Flow Giant City's cultivation resources included all sorts of immortal Gu from Northern Plains immortal zombies. However, Xinu was already dead, and they were injured. If they fought again, even if it was in Northern Plains and not the regional wall, Fang Yuan would still have the upper hand. Xinu's blessed land had formed. Fang Yuan entered it but was unable to subdue the land spirit. His attainment in Earth Path was only at Master level and not Grand Master, thus he could not annex this rank 7 blessed land and could only leave it for the moment. Inside the dream, there was a kind of medicinal herb said to be able to relieve Gu Master Big Beard's poison. The young Feng Yuan chose to sneak out of the caravan and climb the cliff to pick the medicinal herbs growing there. The cold mountain wind blew at him, causing his body to shiver greatly. The cliff was steep, and a careless step could lead to a brutal death. I will definitely get the medicinal herb and treat Uncle Big Beard. He saved my life, how could I not repay this debt of kindness? Persevere, Feng Yuan, don't be afraid, huff huff. Feng Yuan was breathing roughly as he stretched out his arm, and after several attempts, he finally picked out a medicinal herb. At daybreak, with a basket full of herbs and ragged clothes, he returned to the camp. Alright, this dream realm is finally over. Feng Yuan woke up from the dream realm. He finally got rid of the dream realm's interference. This dream realm was not completely without benefits. The dream path materials inside surpassed Feng Yuan's imagination. In the final scene, the basket of herbs Feng Yuan carried were actually all dream path GU materials. If I dreamed by myself, there is no way I would have had such huge harvests. Could it be that Ying Wuxia's lead soul into dream is not only an offensive ability, but is actually a killer move to get dream path GU materials? Feng Yuan pondered over this as he flew. Without the dream realm's interference, he once again began to chase after Ying Wuxia. Even if Ying Wuxia ran to the ends of the world, Feng Yuan would give chase to nip this great problem in the bud. Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Fairy Lian Yun, don't use Love Immortal GU again. You have already paid the price and are now unable to speak. If you continue using it repeatedly like this, I really don't know what kind of price you will have to pay next. Shi Zhengyi tried to persuade. Zhao Lianyun shook her head, her gaze firm and determined. In the dangerous battle with Zhao Daniyu, Love Immortal GU had displayed its might. But that time, Love Immortal GU did not take immortal essence as the price, instead it seized away a certain thing from Zhao Lianyun. This thing was Zhao Lianyun's voice. After the battle, Zhao Lianyun was unable to let out any sounds. She was not even able to make crude grunts and noises that mute people could make. Hong Yun is still waiting for me. I cannot just wait here and watch from the sidelines. So what if I can't speak? I can still converse with all of you through GU worms. It is not a big problem. Zhao Lianyun transmitted her voice to Shi Zhengyi. Shi Zhengyi sighed, unable to say anything, and could only let Zhao Lianyun act on her will. This time, however, no matter how Zhao Lianyun called out, Love Immortal GU showed no signs of budging. Helpless, Zhao Lianyun could only walk out of the 12th Snowy Peaks range, along with Shi Zhengyi. Once they walked out of this range, Zhao Lianyun was sent to another snowy peak, separated from Shi Zhengyi. Different from before, there were sounds of an intense battle on this snowy peak. Who was fighting here? It should be either Yu Yizi, Bu Zhenzi or Mu Ling Lan, right? Zhao Lianyun was surprised and happy, as she quickly rushed towards the peak. She soon reached the hall at the peak. The stench of blood assaulted her nose. Inside the Crimson Hall, a gorgeous young GU Immortal was fighting a bitter battle with a snowy mountain GU Immortal. It was Refinement Path GU Immortal Yu Yizi. Yu Yizi, hold on, I am coming to support you. Zhao Lianyun transmitted her voice. Yu Yizi was both surprised and happy, quickly replying, be careful, this is a genuine Blood Path demonic immortal. What? Blood Path? Zhao Lianyun got a huge fright. She looked at the enemy with dread and wariness. Chapter 1262, Golden Sun Spear. Blood Path GU Immortal. Because of Blood Sea ancestor and other historical reasons, as well as Blood Path's characteristics, any person who cultivated Blood Path would be judged as a demonic path member in the 5 regions. In the battle between the alliance of Chu sect and Bai Zhu tribe against the allied Huangjin tribes, Chu Du's side could have brought in a strong reinforcement. Unfortunately, this person cultivated Blood Path. Chu Du had immediately refused with not the slightest bit of hesitation. It was because Chu Du wanted to establish a righteous path force. If he collaborated with a Blood Path member, his side would be judged as demonic path, and all his painstaking effort would go down the drain. However, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land did not have such concerns. Because Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was a gathering point of Northern Plains demonic path GU Immortals. It was not a tribe or a sect. Whether it be a tribe or a sect, both had the characteristics of nurturing its members, and both had mortal members as well. However, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was an entity formed and linked purely through benefits. Zhao Lianyun arrived at the 10th Snowy Peak after leaving the 12th Snowy Peak. The demonic path GU Immortal guarding this place was called Zhao Ku. He was wearing hemp clothes and cloth shoes, he was bald, had an ordinary appearance and was of a middling stature. He was standing at the center of the hall, while Yu Yizi was retreating back again and again, until he reached the edge of the hall. His whole body was bathed in blood, his injuries were frightening. When Zhao Lianyun saw this companion, she was almost unable to recognize him. Yu Yizi was a pretty and delicate-looking man, but right now, it was like he had fallen in a boundless sea of blood and was pulled out by someone. His other abilities are normal, but he has one blood path immortal killer move that is extremely powerful. When activating it, all of his blood splashes out before turning into a stream of blood. Once the stream of blood touches your skin, you will start bleeding, and as time passes, the bleeding will continue to worsen. You need to be careful. When Yu Yizi saw Zhao Lianyun in the middle of the fight, he quickly warned her. I understand. Take a rest first, I will deal with him. Zhao Lianyun stepped forward. Good, another person is here looking for death. Zhao Ku stood at the same spot without moving, his hands folded across his chest. He let out a sinister smile, revealing his dense and sharp teeth. A demonic and bloodthirsty aura pounced forward. Immortal killer move, life-locking silver chain. Zhao Lianyun had been preparing this move since earlier. Under the consumption of immortal essence, auras of large numbers of GU worms rose from her body, and a silver light covered her. Clang clang, a series of chains clashing against each other could be heard coming from within the silver light. Shortly afterwards, 6 long chains shot out from the silver light. The 6 chains were bright silver and extremely nimble, as they moved around Zhao Lianyun, forming a strong defense. Zhao Lianyun had gone through intensive training, and after the life and death battle with Zhao Daniyu, she seemed to have been reborn. Her every move was decisive and did not have an inexperienced air like before. The 10th Snowy Peak Lord, Zhao Ku, noticed Zhao Lianyun activating her killer move, but actually did not stop her and simply watched her. Zhao Lianyun saw this, and immediately activated another immortal killer move. Meteor Rain. Immortal essence was expended once again, as a patch of deep blue formed above Zhao Lianyun, above the dome of the hall. Swish swish swish. Countless meteors were falling from the sky, raining down like an army of arrows. It was a majestic sight. These meteors were extremely thin and small, like countless hidden weapons, but their power was majestic as they fell down like a storm that could not be avoided. If Zhao Ku kept on staying still, he would be turned into meat paste by these tiny meteors. He indeed did not dare to be so prideful. Suddenly a large bloody cloud floated above his head. It was like a huge umbrella that firmly protected Zhao Ku. The falling meteors were blocked by the bloody cloud, but the bloody cloud's volume was shrinking at a visible speed. Zhao Ku gritted his teeth and stamped his foot, as his body shot towards Zhao Lianyun like a red ray of light. Zhao Lianyun's mind shook, subconsciously taking a step back. The silver chains moving around her reacted faster than her. One of the chains shot out towards Zhao Ku like a charging dragon. Zhao Ku quickly dodged and chose another direction to attack. But at almost the same time, another silver chain shot towards him. Zhao Ku had no choice but to retreat and choose another direction again. This repeated a few times. Zhao Ku shockingly realized these silver chains could attack on their own. These chains could be said to have both attack and defensive properties. Not to mention how agile these silver chains were, they could even coordinate with each other. Little girl, your defensive killer move is pretty good. Zhao Ku could not see any results. He did not continue trying and retreated some distance, using his methods to replenish the thinning bloody cloud. This was natural. Zhao Lianyun had many immortal killer moves. These methods were chosen specifically for Zhao Lianyun by Spirit Affinity House and Heavenly Court. They were especially suitable for a beginner like Zhao Lianyun. Not only were the killer moves easy to control, the injuries from backlash in the case of failure were also not severe. The main thing was that these killer moves were extremely refined. The meteors continued to fall down in torrents. Zhao Ku was constantly replenishing the bloody cloud above him. Yu Yizi was in a corner, healing himself. Zhao Lianyun did not answer. She silently continued to prepare for a third immortal killer move. It was just that these two killer moves, Meteor Rain and Life-Locking Silver Chain, were the ones she had practiced the most. This third move was slightly more complex than these two moves. During the normal training, Zhao Lianyun only had to spend some effort to activate it. But in a real battle, she found she had to use a lot more effort. Although, right now, with the protection of Life-Locking Silver Chain, the environment was similar to the training field, her mental state was not the same. Her few attempts had already ended up in failure. Another immortal killer move. Don't you know immortal killer moves cannot be used easily? The more you use them, the more chances where you will expose a weakness. Let me teach you how to fight. Zhao Pu smiled sinisterly and pounced forward. But this time, when he had reached halfway, he opened his mouth wide. Boom! An enormous explosion occurred. Zhao Lianyun felt the blood throughout her body shaking violently. A little less than half of the GU worms that had soared up in Zhao Lianyun's phantom aperture fell down again because of the disturbance. Among them, many mortal GU were destroyed. Zhao Pu was a blood path demonic immortal, but also had sound path methods which caught Zhao Lianyun unprepared. Even Yu Yizi, who had been healing himself, was affected. Like this, Zhao Pu continued to attack Zhao Lianyun from all sides while life-locking silver chain ensured her safety. Zhao Lianyun did not succeed in activating her third immortal killer move due to all sorts of interference from Zhao Pu. She was filled with a sense of powerlessness, thinking, this guy is indeed like what Yu Yizi described him as. He has a number of methods which are all ordinary and cannot break my life-locking silver chain. But he is extremely troublesome. He has all kinds of methods emerging one after another, causing me to repeatedly fail in activating the killer move. This won't do, I need to continue to persevere. Zhao Lianyun firmed her resolution and continued to attempt activating her immortal killer move. Maybe due to being obstructed too many times and failing many times, it instead tempered her will and strengthened her conviction. Finally, her eyes suddenly let out a piercing sharp light. Zhao Lianyun then stretched out her right arm, and spat at her right palm, spitting out a chain of fire. The fire stopped at her palm. At first it was only a fireball hovering over her right palm. But with Zhao Lianyun continuing to spit out fire, the fire in her hand began to inflate. It was quite strange, this fire was not inflating as a whole, but it was its left and right side that were enlarging. Soon, a staff of fire formed in Zhao Lianyun's hand. The staff grew until it was the side of an adult's arm. The burning flames on the staff began to shrink. Several breaths later, the raging fire was completely gone, as it condensed into a staff that seemed to be cast from crimson bronze. Zhao Lianyun closed her mouth before suddenly opening it, letting out a shrill scream, strike. Following her voice, a golden ray of light immediately shot out from her mouth and struck the fire staff. Chapter 1263, Blood Drain. The fire staff completely absorbed this golden light. The golden light quickly moved around in the fire staff before finally stopping at the head of the staff, gradually turning into a sharp spear. Right now, the fire staff had changed into a short crimson golden spear. Immortal killer move Golden Sun Spear had finally activated successfully. It is time for you to die. Zhao Lianyun let out a breath of air. She was filled with confidence. Her right hand slowly raised the Golden Sun Spear and pointed at Zhao Pu, her willpower soaring high. Zhao Pu was solemn as he fixed his gaze at the Golden Sun Spear in Zhao Lianyun's hand, praising it. Impressive spear, both its temperature and radiance are well restrained. Once it bursts out, it will definitely be terrifyingly powerful. But he suddenly changed the subject, revealing a smile as if his scheme had succeeded. He said to Zhao Lianyun, don't you feel anything strange right now? What? Only then did Zhao Lianyun sense something warm was flowing down the sides of her lips. She lightly wiped with her left hand. It was blood. Who knew when she had started to bleed? This is. Zhao Lianyun's pupils immediately shrunk to pin size and her body started shaking. This is my killer move, blood drain. He. Zhao Pu laughed loudly. This can't be you clearly. Zhao Lianyun had only spoken a few words, when blood started to flow out of her mouth, dyeing her white teeth red. Ha, you want to say that I did not show any signs of activating an immortal killer move. Actually, I had already activated it, I only changed the method. Zhao Pu laughed. Could it be the rumored technique, split move? Yu Yizi cried out in shock, his eyes wide open. Zhao Pu glanced at him. Kid, you are quite knowledgeable. GU masters nurtured, used, and refined GU, no matter which aspect, they were all very profound and deep. Refining GU involved all sorts of refinement methods. Using GU naturally was also the same. Among immortal killer moves, there were many extraordinary methods and techniques. For instance, the consecutive moves of Blazing Heaven Demoness. She could use 2 or more fire path immortal killer moves one after the other, achieving a stronger effect in the end. Another example was Fang Yuan's variant moves. Myriad Self, formed from the convergence of enslavement and strength path, could produce large numbers of strength path phantoms to battle. But Fang Yuan was able to create a variant move, Myriad Self First Style, Strength Path Giant Hand. This variant move used Myriad Self as the foundation, but was able to produce an offensive effect that Myriad Self could not achieve by itself. And the method Zhao Pu was using right now was a split move. If he directly activated blood drain, it would definitely be sensed by the highly vigilant Zhao Lianyun, and she would either disturb him or evade. However, Zhao Ku split this immortal killer move into multiple parts, and used them as he fought. After he unleashed all of these split moves, he achieved the effective blood drain. The advantage of this method was clear. There was no indication of the move being used, which made it impossible to guard against. Damn it, so he had been hiding and pretending. He attacked multiple times but did not break my life-locking silver chain's defense. It was actually because he was secretly plotting. Right now, Zhao Lianyun found that she was not only bleeding from her mouth, blood was starting to flow continuously from her nose and ears as well. Her eyes were also filled with some traces of blood, causing her vision to become blurry. Zhao Lianyun's heart thumped loudly as she recalled Yu Yizi's appearance. I was still hit by that move. If it continues like this, would not I end up the same way as Yu Yizi? He is truly crafty. In her agitation, Zhao Lianyun threw the golden sun spear towards Zhao Ku. But Zhao Ku was already prepared. He was extremely vigilant against Zhao Lianyun's fire spear. Zhao Lianyun's shoulder had just started to move, when he had already begun to move. The golden sun spear did not have the ability to lock onto the target, but it was extremely fast, brushing past Zhao Ku. Zhao Ku got a great fright. The golden sun spear pierced through the hall, shooting towards outside the hall before it exploded. A boundless heat wave swept over all directions. The dazzling golden light and the flames instantly formed a small sun-like sphere. But soon, this small sun disappeared completely. Such power, if it truly struck me. Zhao Ku's body was soaked in cold sweat. Fortunately, they have already been struck by my move. Oh, Yu Yizi inwardly sighed, and walked towards Zhao Lianyun, prepared to fight alongside her. Zhao Lianyun was downcast, her morale falling sharply. She had very little real battle experience, her state of mind was easily influenced. This immortal killer move, Golden Sun Spear, was a valuable advantage, but now it was wasted by her. Your injuries, Zhao Lianyun worriedly looked at Yu Yizi. Yu Yizi's injuries showed no signs of getting better. Zhao Ku laughed. Did you think I was intentionally letting you off when I let you rest and heal? He, as long as you are hit by my move, unless I personally cancel the effect, normal methods won't be of any use. You have already tried, do you see any effects? But I am quite benevolent. I will allow you both to surrender, as long as you kneel and beg for mercy, giving me your immortal GU, I will take you as my slaves and spare your lives. Stop dreaming. Zhao Lianyun gritted her teeth, refusing Zhao Ku's invitation. Zhao Ku ignored her and laughed. The battle is decided, are you still unaware of your situation? A wise person submits to circumstances. You are still young, it is over if you die, but you will still have hope as long as you live. Yu Yizi sneered. I am indeed unable to heal my injuries and can only let the blood continue to flow. But I have made some gains. I have already deduced that as long as we kill you, the injuries on our body will heal by themselves. Zhao Ku's expression slightly changed. He sized up Yu Yizi once again. Kid, I have changed my opinion about you. Yu Yizi was a genius refinement path GU Immortal, having extremely deep attainment level in refinement path. Even rank 7 GU Immortals often discussed GU refinement matters with him, and even asked him for guidance. Yu Yizi was not only proficient in GU refinement, he also was skilled in deducing GU recipes. Refinement path and wisdom path were close to each other and could coordinate with each other. Yu Yizi was able to deduce the truth from his injuries along with Zhao Ku's various behaviors. We must kill him before all our blood is drained. If he doesn't die, we will die. Yu Yizi transmitted his voice to Zhao Lianyun. They were already forced into a dead end. They had no options other than to fearlessly charge ahead and kill the enemy to have the right to survive. Charge! Zhao Lianyun called out, and charged forward without hesitation. Conceited brats, I will let you taste my true strength. Zhao Ku laughed loudly, and valiantly charged forward, fighting as 1 against 2. Both sides went at each other, neither yielding a step. Life-locking silver chains shuttled back and forth. Zhao Ku had a bloody cloud above him and 1 below his feet. He avoided 3 chains and immediately spat blood towards the 3 chains coming from behind. The blood dyed the silver chains, immediately turning them into a pool of blood. 8 refinement gates, 3rd gate hand gate, open. Yu Yizi took the chance to palm strike towards Zhao Ku's back from afar. Immediately, 2 exquisite palm silhouettes struck Zhao Ku's back with incredible speed. Zhao Ku gave a muffled groan, blood suddenly splashed out from his back and covered his injuries. A slightly surprised expression flashed past his face, as he thought, strange, why is this kid's attack much stronger now? Yu Yizi might be a refinement path Gu Immortal, but his battle strength was also extraordinary. As long as he was given some time, he could target his opponent's weaknesses properly. Especially his Immortal killer move, 8 refinement gates, it could change according to the situation and unleash some properties that were specially effective against the enemy. Yu Yizi and Zhao Lianyun knew they had no way to retreat, and instantly burst out with remarkable battle strength. Chapter 1264. Crying, Screaming. If humans stake their all, their danger would naturally increase explosively. In contrast, the blood path demonic immortal Zhao Ku was not willing to fight to the death, he just needed to delay some time and he could obtain victory. As such, for a moment, Zhao Ku was instead suppressed by Zhao Lianyun and Yu Yizi. However, Zhao Ku's battle experience was much greater than these two immortals of Central Continent. He was extremely slippery, moving around all the time. Zhao Lianyun and Yu Yizi did everything they could but could not catch him at all. As time passed, the situation inclined towards Zhao Ku. Yu Yizi was the first to weaken in his attacks. He had been struck much earlier than Zhao Lianyun and had suffered much greater injuries. Now because of the high blood loss, he fell unconscious. Your friend might have died from blood loss, you are next. You also don't have much time, why aren't you attacking more frequently? Zhao Ku laughed. Zhao Lianyun was in low spirits. She knew Zhao Ku was intentionally provoking her to disturb her mind, but she was unable to calm her mind and became more and more agitated. Blood had started flowing out of her eyes, her sight was completely blurry and red. More terrifyingly, blood was not only pouring out of her 7 orifices, but also from the countless pores on her body. Damn it! An intense dizziness constantly attacked Zhao Lianyun, her whole body was starting to shake and waver. Finally, Zhao Ku sent a long-ranged attack which sent Zhao Lianyun flying. She fell to the ground and rolled 3 times before stopping. Damn it! Zhao Lianyun pushed the ground with her hands and tried to stand up, but she had lost too much blood and had no strength left in her. She could not even prop her body up anymore. It's over. Zhao Ku folded his arms across his chest, as he walked slowly towards Zhao Lianyun and looked down at her. Blood. It was flowing out continuously from Zhao Lianyun's body. Soon, a pool of blood had formed around her. Zhao Lianyun had become a blood-soaked person in this pool, blood was flowing down from her eyes along with her tears. Is it over? This is where I fall. Blood, I am not in the least bit afraid this time, Hong Yun. Zhao Lianyun recalled a scene of the past. That was during the fighting for imperial court. Zhao Lianyun had lost the protection of her father, and was unwillingly turned into a political chip to be married to Wei tribe's young master, and had no choice but to rely on Ma Hongyun. During one battle, Zhao Lianyun was unfortunately shot in the thigh by a falling arrow. Blood flowed. I am going to die, ah, so painful. I am going to die. Zhao Lianyun was lying inside a carriage, screaming and crying. Don't make a fuss, Lady Xiaoyun, you are not going to die. This is only a little injury. Ma Hongyun proficiently dressed her injury while consoling her. Blood, so much blood. Don't you know I get dizzy at the sight of blood? I have never suffered such a heavy injury. Zhao Lianyun groaned. You, how could you be so squeamish? Injuries are normal for people of northern plains. Many times, the scars are a source of glory and symbol of our feats. Zhao Lianyun rolled her eyes. Do you know how to comfort people? Sigh, how could I be so unlucky? Ha ha ha, Ma Hongyun laughed loudly, carelessly using a bit more strength. Zhao Lianyun cried out in pain. Ah, be softer. Also, what are you laughing at? I have suffered such a serious injury and you seem to be very happy. Ma Hongyun quickly waved his hand, but was still laughing. I'm not gloating, it is just that I feel Lady Xiaoyun is truly cute. You normally act like an elder, and fill people with awe. But only now do I truly feel you are a little sister younger than me. You are getting truly arrogant. Zhao Lianyun was just about to erupt, when suddenly, Ma Hongyun touched her forehead. Zhao Lianyun was dazed. For some reason, she got a feeling of warmth. Ma Hongyun ignored her. There is no fever, this is good. Lady Xiaoyun, you cannot be so squeamish. Suffering some injuries and letting out some blood is nothing. If you scream so loudly again, people will ridicule you. Her recollection ended here. Ridicule. You should not be able to ridicule me now, right? You brat, I really used up all my blood to save you. It is truly strange, I actually willingly sent myself to death for someone. So, even if I die, I am willing to do this. Such thoughts emerged in Zhao Lianyun's mind. Die. Zhao Ku gave a loud shout and pierced forward with his hand like a sharp knife. A fatal blow. If this battle struck true, it would pierce through Zhao Lianyun's head like tofu. But right at this time, an intense radiance burst out from Zhao Lianyun's body. The radiance was so glaring that Zhao Pu had no choice but to close his eyes and step back. Why is there such a strong light? Impossible. This aura is so powerful. Ah! Zhao Pu let out a miserable cry. His whole body did not budge in the light. Soon, he was like the melting snow under a hot sun, completely destroyed. At the crucial moment, Love Immortal Gu showed its might once again, directly killing Zhao Pu. Northern Plains, in the depths of Earth Trench. Ying Wuxie, where will you hide now? Fang Yuan's sword dragon form roared in the Earth Trench, his voice, filled with killing intent, resounded everywhere. Relying on Qi Luck sensation, Fang Yuan had moved at extreme speed and finally reached here. From within the darkness, a giant city slowly rose up. Ying Wuxie was standing on top of the giant city. I have been waiting for quite some time. Ying Wuxie spoke, his gaze tranquil and his tone indifferent. HMPH, she knew is dead, you want to fight me with just you four in this mortal Gu house. Fang Yuan sneered. Dark Flow Giant City was huge and looked majestic, but it was only a mortal Gu house, not an immortal Gu house. It was not easy to form an immortal Gu house. Shadow Sect possessed many immortal Gu, but they also could not casually upgrade Dark Flow Giant City to an immortal Gu house. If they had an immortal Gu house, Fang Yuan would feel a lot of apprehension. Because the power of an immortal Gu house increased with the amount of immortal essence expended. Fang Yuan had once used Giant Sun's immortal essence to control graceful chaotic dual stage and shined in the Battle of Yitian Mountain. But Dark Flow Giant City was only a mortal Gu house, and it was absolutely not enough to put fear in Fang Yuan. Then what if you add me? A second figure appeared on top of Dark Flow Giant City. This person was only a rank 6 Gu immortal, but he was an old acquaintance of Fang Yuan. It was the spy Shadow Sect had inserted in Langya Sect, Refinement Path Gu Immortal 6th Hair. Fang Yuan's gaze became slightly dark. Fang Yuan did not think much of 6th Hair's strength. But 6th Hair and Fang Yuan were members of Langya Sect, both of them had an Information Path Alliance agreement. This made it extremely inconvenient for Fang Yuan to go against 6th Hair. With just slight carelessness, he would suffer the backlash of the Information Path Alliance agreement and be injured. However, Fang Yuan had mentally prepared for 6th Hair's appearance. Die! Fang Yuan swung his dragon tail, directly charging forward. Dark Flow Giant City quickly moved back, and at the same time, a battlefield killer move rose up and large numbers of Yaksha octopuses closed in. Your status has already made Fang Yuan hesitate. We just need to delay some time and we can use omnidirectional travel again. Ying Wuxie patted 6th Hair's shoulder. Lord, you should go take a rest, let me handle this. 6th Hair said to Ying Wuxie. Ying Wuxie nodded and entered Dark Flow Giant City. It was a slaughterhouse. Despite there being large numbers of Yaksha octopuses, they were not a match for Fang Yuan. The ancient sword dragon raised a bloody storm, rampaging around the battlefield. Dark Flow Giant City was within his sight, but Fang Yuan did not dare to carelessly use dragon breath. It would be bad if he killed 6th Hair by mistake. It would be himself who would suffer instead. He might even be counterattacked by Ying Wuxie and the rest due to that and lose his life here. Ying Wuxie and the others were in a bad situation, but Fang Yuan was not blindly optimistic. He knew he had the upper hand, but was not yet able to turn it into crushing dominance. Especially when there was Bai Ningbing, who could turn into the Bai Shang state, and Ying Wuxie, who had lead soul into dream. Even though the former only had rank 6 cultivation and the latter's lead soul into dream was incomplete. Information path, when can I be free from its restrictions? Fang Yuan was vexed. Information path was a pain that had repeatedly troubled him. Fang Yuan had also tried hard, but lacking fortuitous encounters, he had not been able to solve this issue. 6th Hair presided over the battle. His strategy was not to win, but to not make any mistakes. Chapter 1265, Nightmare Demonic Cults. After Fang Yuan killed the wave of Yaksha octopuses, wall-climbing demon apes started to appear. These apes similarly were beasts of Earth Trench, not inferior to Yaksha octopus. After this wave of wall-climbing demon apes was eliminated, Fang Yuan was attacked by a large group of red flame snakes. These beast groups were probably all controlled by Northern Plains Zombie Alliance Division. For example, Yaksha octopuses probably belong to the rank 7 immortal zombie dragon commander Yi Cha. The Zombie Alliance divisions in other regions were all besieged, only on Northern Plains Zombie Alliance's end did they rely on Earth Trench to remain until now. Not only these desolate beasts, looking at He Lu Lan's performance earlier, there probably are immortal GU as well. If so, I will have to re-evaluate the battle strength of Ying Wuxie and the others. However, it is not possible to grasp immortal killer moves in a short period of time, with just immortal GU, when there is conflict between Dao marks. Fang Yuan analyzed the situation while fighting. At this time, a large group of horse desolate beasts galloped towards Fang Yuan. These horses were extremely strange. They had a pair of sheep horns on their heads, their whole bodies looked like they were burnt charcoal, they were letting out dense smoke from their noses and their tails and limbs were burning with a dull red fire. Dream Path Desolate Beast Nightmare Demonic Cult. Fang Yuan was stunned, before recognizing it shortly afterwards. So it seems, nightmare demonic cults had already appeared during this time period. Moreover, in such high numbers. Fang Yuan was greatly joyous. Nightmare demonic cults were a dream path desolate beast. This desolate beast was extremely common during his first life of 500 years. But now at this time, it was extremely rare. Fang Yuan thought this horse had yet to appear. Times changed, humans were changing and the world was also changing. Many GU materials were extinct, leading to the decline of strength path, chi path and other paths. Similarly, many new GU materials were constantly formed. Dream path. This path had just begun to flourish near the end of Fang Yuan's first life. At present, the GU immortals were all researching it. Although they made some gains, they were extremely small and almost could not be considered anything. Only after a few hundred years would many dream path GU materials start to appear. Nightmare demonic cults were one of them. Fang Yuan had thus believed nightmare demonic cults did not exist at this time. But this group of nightmare demonic cults made him realize his estimation was completely wrong. Good thing I was wrong. I must get these nightmare demonic cults. Fang Yuan was extremely happy. What did Dream Path Desolate Beasts signify? Large amounts of Dream Path GU materials. Why was Fang Yuan painstakingly going deep into his own dreams? It was to gather Dream Path materials. If he had these nightmare demonic cults, Fang Yuan could cut the meat of these desolate horses and refine large numbers of Dream Path Mortal GU, and even Dream Path Immortal GU. When he was exploring the giant dream realm in southern border, why could he not use Unravel Dream as much as he liked? Why did he have to plan carefully every time he used it? Simply put, wasn't it because he did not have enough Dream Path Mortal GU? The efficiency of refining Dream Path Mortal GU alone was truly too low. These nightmare demonic cults are all mine. Fang Yuan started to capture these nightmare demonic cults. His ancient sword dragon form was extremely fast, maneuvering around these nightmare demonic cults with no obstruction. Fang Yuan was trying to knock these nightmare demonic cult unconscious, and then raise them in the sovereign immortal aperture. However, Shadow Sect had clearly prepared for it and had made some arrangements on these nightmare demonic cults. Fang Yuan tried hard, but finally discovered he could not capture these nightmare demonic cult alive. At most, he could kill them and obtain their corpses. But even so, Fang Yuan had a huge harvest. After killing these nightmare demonic cults, Fang Yuan then slaughtered the next few waves of desolate beast groups, among which were ancient desolate beasts as well. Fang Yuan's battle strength was already at the upper layers of rank 7, whether it be the desolate beast groups or the battlefield killer move, they were not a threat to Fang Yuan. Dark Flow Giant City did not have an endless supply of desolate beast groups. After a while, Fang Yuan had killed all the beast groups, and he spent some time in breaking the battlefield killer move, wrecking Dark Flow Giant City. However, a lot of his time had still been wasted. Ying Wuxie and the others had already left. Sixth Hair had remained behind, like she knew, to hold back Fang Yuan. Sixth Hair's cultivation could not compare to Shi Nu's, but he had a huge advantage. He looked at Fang Yuan with no fear. Do you dare to kill me? What use is there in killing you? Wait till I kill Ying Wuxie and let you fall into despair and suffering. Fang Yuan gave a sinister smile, as his dragon body ascended and flew out of Earth Trench. The ashen-faced Sixth Hair was left behind, along with the ruined Dark Flow City. Northern Plains was extremely huge. Even though they had omnidirectional travel, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was at the extreme northwest. Omnidirectional travel could not be used continuously. While Ying Wuxie was hurrying towards Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, Fang Yuan caught up to them once again. Let's see who will help you this time. The ancient sword dragon rushed over. Led soul into dream. Ying Wuxie activated his immortal killer move. Fang Yuan was hit again. However, this dream realm was unexpectedly deep. He had to use Unravel Dream to break the dream realm and return to reality. What is going on? Fang Yuan immediately sensed something fishy. This was somewhat beyond what he had expected, causing him to suffer a minor loss. Ying Wuxie laughed. I sacrificed all those nightmare demonic cults earlier. Do you think these dream path immortal materials can be taken so easily? I will give you advice, don't chase us. If you continue chasing, even if you have the upper extreme heavenly eagle, you will lose your life. HMPH, crafty guy. Fang Yuan snorted. Regardless of what intention Ying Wuxie had, whether it was provocation or probing, Fang Yuan decided to give up chasing for now. The dream realm was constantly pestering him, he had to get through the entirety of the dream realm, only then could he be completely free of worries. Undoubtedly, lead soul into dream was truly troublesome. Even though Fang Yuan had unraveled dream, he could not resolve it in one attempt, and had to pass through all the stages of the dream realm. Inside the dream, southern border, dawn, the wet dew and the dense cloud-like mountain fog produced a depressing feeling. The merchant caravan did not continue moving in this dense fog on the mountain was very likely to create problems. The young Fang Yuan was sitting beside a simple bed. Gu Master Big Beard was lying on the bed, and was already on the verge of dying. Fang Yuan, thank you for the medicinal herbs. Gu Master Big Beard spoke with an extremely weak voice. Fang Yuan was feeling extremely stifled, as he sobbed, Uncle Big Beard, you will get better. Gu Master Big Beard shook his head, how could I not be clear of my injuries? Don't cry, child, crying is of no use to us. I was once young like you, and had big dreams. Unfortunately, my aptitude was too bad, and I finally sank into this current state. Hee. This world is too big, while we are too small. When I was a child, I wanted to be a grand hero, like those legendary figures of the righteous path. When I was a youngster, I wanted to be a clan leader. When I was an adult, I was satisfied with becoming a clan elder. When I was a middle-aged man, I was exiled from the clan, I felt that I could live by myself just as well, I was satisfied with just raising my Gu worms and myself. Do you know what I want now? Fang Yuan wept softly, what? I just want to quietly lie down inside a quiet room and slowly recall the past, until death comes to take me. Gu Master Big Beard had a self-mocking expression. Then should I leave? Fang Yuan did not know what to do. Leave, let me be here alone, I don't want others to see my dying appearance. Gu Master Big Beard said. Fang Yuan slowly stood up and hesitantly walked to the door. At this time, Gu Master Big Beard spoke once again. You must have read less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. There is a chapter which tells the story of the Miniman walking out of ordinary abyss. We are all Miniman, and we all want to walk out of ordinary abyss. Oh, you must continue on, Fang Yuan. Continue living, continue persevering. It is a pity that all my Gu were destroyed in the battle. This is my advice to you, my only gift. To us minor characters, crying is of no use, no one will hear us even if we shout, we can only persevere by ourselves. Persevere until you accomplish great feats, become extraordinary. Either that, or embrace death. Chapter 1266 I love him. Did we win? Zhao Lianyun had to use quite some effort to climb out of the blood pool. Her injuries were severe, and she was blacking out. Fortunately, Zhao Pu was already dead, and the blood drain immortal killer move on Zhao Lianyun and Yu Yizi also dissipated. If it did not dissipate, Zhao Lianyun and Yu Yizi would undoubtedly follow Zhao Pu to death. Huff, huff. On the other side, Yu Yizi was breathing roughly, standing up while leaning on the wall. When he saw Zhao Lianyun, this young Gu immortal was dazed and turned pale. Lian Fairy Lianyun, your face know your body. Yu Yizi's eyes were wide open, and he stuttered, not knowing how to express himself. Zhao Lianyun felt strange, transmitting her voice, what's wrong with me? She lowered her head to look at herself, the first thing she saw were her hands. A pair of old and skinny hands. Zhao Lianyun's heart gave a jolt as she found she had unknowingly become an elderly woman. Her back was bent, wrinkles covered her body, her sight was blurry and her hair had turned white. What's happening? Zhao Lianyun was shocked. She grabbed her hair, easily pulling out strands of white hair. Her strong hair roots had degraded and become loose. Yu Yizi spoke with a heavy voice, it is probably Love Gu. Love Gu consumed your lifespan to burst out with the terrifying power that could directly kill Zhao Pu. Is that so? Zhao Lianyun was dazed and at a loss. Anyone who turned from the prime of their youth to an old and frail person the next moment, would definitely receive a huge shock in their mind. Yes. Yu Yizi nodded, and consoled, but you don't have to worry, you can restore your youth by using lifespan Gu. Normal Gu immortals might not be able to gather lifespan Gu, but you are different, you are the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House, the sect will definitely provide you lifespan GU. Zhao Lianyun did not reply. She was feeling complicated emotions. Shock, disappointment, disbelief, dazedness. She was an otherworldly demon, but even before transmigrating, she had not experienced becoming this old. After a while of silence, Zhao Lianyun finally recovered from the shock. I will continue going forward. Old age doesn't matter, Hongyun is still waiting for me. Zhao Lianyun gazed at the distant first snowy peak through the window, her gaze becoming resolute once more. You cannot continue. Yu Yizi was shocked, quickly walking over to Zhao Lianyun and holding her arm. Love Immortal GU is powerful but it is not stable. Maybe it will take your lifespan the next time as well. If so, you will definitely die. Yu Yizi persuaded. So what if I die? The old Zhao Lianyun looked at the young Yu Yizi with a slight smile. Her smile was not even a little beautiful, but Yu Yizi was dazed. Then, Zhao Lianyun softly drew back her arm. She clearly did not use much strength, but Yu Yizi felt a formless strength attacking his heart, letting him voluntarily release his hand. He then quietly stood on the spot, looking at Zhao Lianyun's hunched back, looking at her walking towards the outside of the hall with heavy and aged steps. This scene was ordinary and nothing strange, but Yu Yizi felt an intense tremor in his heart. He even subconsciously held his breath, as Zhao Lianyun's weak receding figure imprinted deeply in him at this moment. What kind of spirit is this? For her love, she is willing to make sacrifices, unafraid of death and destruction. Zhao Lianyun, I would have definitely died in Zhao Pu's hands without you. Alright, let me follow you, at worst, this life will be paid to you. Yu Yizi was not old, he was still hot-blooded, and after firming up his mind, he quickly followed Zhao Lianyun. There was not much immortal essence left in her phantom aperture. Zhao Lianyun was also worried that recklessly summoning Love Immortal GU would spend what little remained of her lifespan. As such, she chose to walk down the peak. Under the effect of the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation, Zhao Lianyun and Yu Yizi separated, and she alone went to another snowy peak. There was still a large hall at the peak, and the atmosphere was quiet. There was a battle here. Zhao Lianyun slowly walked to the hall, finding the inside of the hall in ruins, signs of an intense battle were everywhere. Fairy Lianyun, a voice suddenly transmitted to Zhao Lianyun's ears. Zhao Lianyun was slightly dazed, before shortly recognizing the voice as that Water Path GU Immortal, Mu Linglan's voice. This is the 8th peak of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. I fought with the owner of this peak, Xiao Fei Fei, and now, we are both wounded. We are both hiding right now, healing our injuries as quickly as possible. You need to be careful, don't be hit by her ability. She has an immortal killer move which can cause the target to continuously lose their memories. Just as he finished speaking, a ray of strange light flew and struck Zhao Lianyun's forehead. No, Mu Linglan quickly called out, every time you lose your memory, the related memory will float in your mind. Use Immortal GU to defend yourself, don't use any immortal killer moves, that would be even more dangerous. If you forget an immortal killer move by any chance, you will suffer the backlash from the immortal killer move. Persevere, wait until I heal my injuries and recover some strength to fight. Zhao Lianyun quickly agreed. She hid in a corner and used Immortal GU to protect herself, then waited for the killer move to activate. Damn it, Zhao Lianyun gradually felt unease. She knew her situation, she had just recently become a GU Immortal, most of her battles came from during her training time. It would be an extremely huge blow to her if the memories of this period were erased. Memories began to surface in her mind. Northern Plains. Ma tribe was defeated, and surrendered to He tribe. I didn't think we could still live, Lady Xiao Yun. Ma Hongyun held Zhao Lianyun's hands and spun round and round on the spot, ha ha ha. Let me down, you big fool. Zhao Lianyun shouted. Imperial Court Blessed Land. You, kid, are truly lucky, you actually became Chong tribe's son-in-law, ha ha ha. Zhao Lianyun patted Ma Hongyun's shoulder. Ma Hongyun chuckled while scratching his hair. Lady Xiao Yun, don't worry, you have helped me so much, I will treat you well. Zhao Lianyun gave a sound of acknowledgement and nodded, then I will rely on you. Inside, however, she felt strange. Why do I have some feelings of loss and bitterness? Inside 88 Truyong Building. To think that you are an otherworldly demon. You are actually lurking by Ma Hongyun's side. He, you have such guts, you are really daring. Unfortunately you met me. Giant Sons will exuded strong killing intent. Zhao Lianyun felt like she had fallen in an ice cave, shouting in her mind, damn it, there is still such an obstacle. Transmigrators are otherworldly demons. This world is too big of a trap. Oh no, my death is certain this time. I am actually going to die here. But the next moment, Ma Hongyun stood in front of Zhao Lianyun. He spread open his arms, protecting Zhao Lianyun behind him. Boy, you want to protect an otherworldly demon? Giant Sun's will sharpened his tone, his expression becoming ice cold. What otherworldly demon? I don't know any otherworldly demon, I only know she is Lady Xiaoyun. Without her help, I would likely have been killed already. Ma Hongyun tried his best to defend Zhao Lianyun. Zhao Lianyun's pupils shrunk as she looked at Ma Hongyun in a daze. Even against Giant Sun's will, this fellow will still stand up for me. Why, I am clearly an otherworldly demon, and not a person of this world. You idiot, you are going to die. By protecting me, you are offending Giant Sun's will, that is your ancestor, you idiot. He Lu Lan's gaze towards Zhao Lianyun started showing killing intent. No, Lady Xiaoyun is innocent, you must not harm her. Ma Hongyun was extremely determined, he wholeheartedly wanted to protect Zhao Lianyun. However, Giant Sun's special will did not care about Ma Hongyun, directly making a move against Zhao Lianyun. No, Ma Hongyun saw the situation going south, he called out in a moment of desperation, extending both his arms and hugging Zhao Lianyun within his bosom. During this moment, time seemed to have become endlessly slow. Zhao Lianyun was curled up in Ma Hongyun's chest, her heart beginning to beat wildly. An unprecedented feeling of safety and warmth filled her heart. Following that came a kind of panic. This panic was not towards her life hanging by a thread, instead it was a strange feeling that came from the depths of her heart. Zhao Lianyun found at this moment that she had hopelessly fallen in love with the stupid Ma Hongyun. In this world, there could be guys who would watch the stars with her, accompany her to shout at the valley, heal her and give her flowers. But who would sacrifice their life for her? In this world, otherworldly demons were despised by even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, who would be so stupid to protect her. Ma Hongyun, Ma Hongyun, the memories surfaced one by one in Zhao Lianyun's mind. Then, they started to disappear one by one. No, stop it, tears filled Zhao Lianyun's face as she called out with incomparable sorrow. Xiao Feifei's voice transmitted, he, when you are struck by my immortal killer move, you will lose your most precious memories. Do you feel pain? It doesn't matter, the more you forget, the more relaxed you will be, maybe you will even smile. He. The memories disappeared, a smile suddenly appeared on Zhao Lianyun's face. Don't smile, this is Xiao Feifei's famous sinister killer move, it will kill people while they smile. The longer you smile, the more easily you will lose your life. Mu Linglan quickly transmitted his voice to warn her. However, Zhao Lianyun seemed to have turned silly, as her smile became increasingly wider. Damn it, Mu Linglan knew he had to take action. He unleashed his killer move after a long period of preparation, creating an incredible effect. Ah, you actually, Xiao Feifei had exposed her location while attacking Zhao Lianyun, and was struck by the fatal move while unprepared, losing her life miserably. Fairy Lianyun, you need to persevere. Mu Linglan quickly rushed over and helped Zhao Lianyun. Zhao Lianyun still had a smile on her face, but she was no longer in a daze. Two streams of translucent tears dripped down her face from her eyes. Her eyes were blurry from age and her hair had turned white, she could only use GU worms to transmit her voice. What should I do? I have forgotten almost everything about him, even his appearance. I only remember his name. I only remember that I love him. Chapter 1267, Central Continent's Reinforcements. Northern Plains, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, First Snowy Peak. Once more, Lady Wanshou approached Ma Hongyun step by step, holding a ball of lightning in her hand. Go ahead, Ma Hongyun nonchalantly rolled his eyes. Lady Wanshou snorted, throwing the ball to Ma Hongyun's chest. Crackle crackle crackle, lightning sparkled all over Ma Hongyun's body. Ma Hongyun was clenching his teeth, actually maintaining his consciousness amidst the lightning assault. When the lightning assault ended, Ma Hongyun did not faint, but was sweating all over, with a flushed face. I failed again. Lady Wanshou could not believe it. What is going on? Something is not right. She had already failed who knows how many times in trying to lightning refine Ma Hongyun. Even though the success rate of rank 8 Immortal GU was extremely low, there was no reason for being stuck at this one juncture from the start. Lady Wanshou felt like vomiting blood. Especially when she saw that Ma Hongyun had already advanced to rank 5 peak stage. Moreover, because of the repeated lightning refinement failures, many lightning path Dao marks were engraved on his body. If Ma Hongyun cultivated lightning path, these Dao marks would no doubt give him tremendous help. Aren't you tired of always doing this? How about changing to another method? Even I am bored. Ma Hongyun knew his death was certain, so he no longer cared at this point, making fun of Lady Wan Shou. Lady Wan Shou's eyes shot out cold light that shone on Ma Hongyun, and incomparable pain immediately attacked his body and mind. He no longer had the content expression, as he raised his head and cried out miserably, his whole body twitching non-stop. Lady Wan Shou silently listened to Ma Hongyun's screams, but the cold light from her eyes did not stop flickering. Ma Hongyun yelled himself hoarse. Finally, his eyes rolled back and he fainted. Lady Wan Shou gave a cold snort. The cold light from her eyes gradually dissipated and revealed her thoughtful expression. Zhao Lianyun is already close to dying. The number of times Love Immortal Gu can show its might has become limited. It seems Lady Wan Shou has also noticed something. Far away in Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace, South Desolation Immortal was well aware of the situation in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Right now, he was also somewhat impatient. Central Continent's GU Immortals had still not appeared. What on earth were they planning? Capturing Love Immortal GU was preparation Ancestor Giant Sun made in the past. We, his descendants, shall complete this perfectly. Black Extremity, prepare to move. South Desolation Immortal sent his command to Longevity Heaven through information path methods. In Longevity Heaven, the 8 extremities were still controlling Calamity Luck Altar and besieging 5 Elements Grandmaster. As they heard the command, 2 rank 7 GU Immortals immediately separated from the formation, Black Extremity and Flood Extremity. We shall go now, Black Extremity said to the others. Come back quickly. Heaven Extremity did not dare to split too much of his attention. Without 2 rank 7 GU Immortals, they were even more helpless against 5 Elements Grandmaster, and could only maintain the current situation while they waited for Black Extremity and Flood Extremity to return. Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. Everything is going according to plan. If this continues, Love Immortal GU and Ma Hongyun will return to Longevity Heaven. Central Continent GU Immortals, if you still don't make a move, it will be too late. South Desolation Immortal thought to himself. Rumble. A loud sound was heard. The entirety of Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace shook violently and was actually forced to reveal itself. Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. So all of it was your doing. Destroy this Heavenly Palace, take revenge for our companions. 2 immortal GU houses were floating in front of Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. One was giving off sounds of hundreds of canaries singing together, extremely agile. It was Canary Pavilion. The other was surrounded by strong winds and stood lofty and tall. It was Wind-Sweeping Building. The 2 immortal GU houses had imposing air, but cracks could be seen on both of them. Clearly, Central Continent's GU Immortals had to pay a huge price to get out from the spaceless tunnel. HMPH, all of you finally appeared. South Desolation Immortal gave a cold snort as he quickly controlled Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace to defend themselves. The 2 immortal GU houses from Central Continent Pincer attacked Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace from in front and behind. Although there was Giant Sun Immortal Zombie inside Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace, he showed no intention of making a move. He had been sitting here for countless years, only retaining enough strength to make one attack. It was to repay a debt to someone. Right now, even though Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace was being attacked, he was still sitting cross-legged at the center of the palace, aloof and indifferent. Soon, sweat started forming on South Desolation Immortal's forehead. Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace was strong, but it had one big weakness: it had to stay at this place and could not be moved. The moment it moved, even if it was just a hair's breadth of distance, it would destroy its 300,000 years of effort. Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace had spent 300,000 years before it was able to influence Black Heaven and White Heaven above Northern Plains. The moment it moved, this effort will be wasted and it would no longer be able to influence Black and White Heaven. Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace was like a huge defensive umbrella that firmly protected Northern Plains. This was the arrangement Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had left behind for his descendants. How could South Desolation Immortal destroy Ancestor Giant Sun's motives just because he was being attacked? He could only choose to face the attacks head-on. Central Continent's side had come prepared as they erupted in explosive offenses, actually gaining the upper hand against Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. Yao Huang, come help me in controlling this immortal GU house and fight off the enemies. South Desolation Immortal spoke. Yao Huang quickly agreed and moved to help. With a second rank 8 GU Immortal controlling the immortal GU house, there was an immediate effect. The battle situation stabilized. South Desolation Immortal's expression was filled with doubts. Strange, why did these Central Continent GU Immortals' attacks suddenly fall off? Also, they seemed to have met with an accident in the spaceless tunnel. I remember there were clearly 3 Immortal GU houses. Where is that strongest one? Edge-linked camp. Was it destroyed in the spaceless tunnel? But at the next moment, South Desolation Immortal's eyes opened wide as he received the latest information. Edge-linked camp has appeared above Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Longevity Heaven had already infiltrated Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, thus South Desolation Immortal was extremely clear of the situation in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Boom! A huge explosion resounded, and a continuous and intense tremor spread. The 12 snowy peaks of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land were all shaking violently. Immortal GU House Edge-linked camp's power was extremely high. After all, this Immortal GU House had 2 rank 8 GU Immortals. One was Wei Ling Yang, the other was Bai Chen Tian. Myriad Tidal Dragon was controlling Wind Sweeping Building while also using Canary Pavilion, restricting Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. Edge-linked camp had great might, even if it was in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, it was contending with the power of the fate-reversing Sacrificial Refinement Formation, firmly floating in the air like a nail. We are saved. Reinforcements have come. Why is there only Edge-linked camp? What about the other 2? The 5 Central Continent GU Immortals who were at different snowy peaks, simultaneously raised their heads and looked at Edge-linked camp, their spirits greatly lifted. Edge-linked camp also discovered these 5 GU Immortals, especially Zhao Lianyun who had Love Immortal GU. Wei Ling Yang and Bai Chen Tian naturally wanted to save them, however, the fate-reversing Sacrificial Refinement Formation was not for show. Edge-linked camp tried to charge down but was met with a very strong formless force. The Super GU formation here is not simple, it actually uses Reverse Flow River. Reverse Flow River is actually in old ancestor Shuihu's hands. But this GU formation relies on Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, it is rooted to the Blessed Land. We cannot deal with the GU formation, but we can destroy Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, thus destroying its roots. This GU formation would then collapse by itself. Wei Ling Yang and Bai Chen Tian discussed for a moment before deciding on the plan. Boom boom boom. Edge-linked camp let out fierce offense, giant horned shadows continuously bombarded at various areas of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, causing extremely huge quakes. Snowy Mountain Blessed Land turned into an apocalyptic scene. Avalanches took place at all the snowy peaks, huge rifts opened on the ground, and countless birds and animals fled in panic. Husband. Lady Wanshou had stopped GU refinement for the moment. She was standing beside old ancestor Shuihu with a worried expression. Dear, if we let this Immortal GU house continue to attack, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land will be destroyed sooner or later. At that time, this refinement path GU formation will also be destroyed. But you can relax, what can a mere Immortal GU house do to me? Let me teach these meddlesome Central Continent GU Immortals and make them have no way back. Old ancestor Shuihu laughed loudly, as he boldly charged towards Edge-linked camp. Both sides fought an intense battle in the air. Edge-linked camp, which was being controlled by 2 Central Continents rank 8s, was actually suppressed, unable to obtain an advantage. Chapter 1268. Shadows in Snowy Mountain. Old ancestor Shuihu displayed the power that belonged to the strongest of northern plains. In possession of such vast might that shook heaven and earth. His great power would drive off deities and scare off ghosts. Old ancestor Shuihu is indeed worthy of being called the strongest of northern plains. Bai Chen Tian was not arrogant. These experts were beyond ordinary. With just a few exchanges of moves, Bai Chen Tian knew he was not Shuihu's match. Edge-linked camp was shaking continuously and even looked like it could not bear old ancestor Shuihu's tyrannical offense. Unfortunately, old ancestor Shuihu, you are only one person, while we have 2 rank 8 GU Immortals. Wei Ling Yang sneered, and said to Bai Chen Tian, I will leave the Immortal GU house to you. Bai Chen Tian transmitted his voice in reply, you can rest assured, I can hold on. If something is wrong, I will call you back. Wei Ling Yang used his methods to quietly fly out of Edge-linked camp. He naturally could not resist the strength of the fate-reversing Sacrificial Refinement Formation by himself, but right now, most of the formation's power was being used to protect Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, so the pressure on Wei Ling Yang had decreased, and he was confident he could use his methods to go to each snowy peak. Because he was a Rule Path GU Immortal. Rule Path possessed a huge advantage in this aspect. Old ancestor Shuihu was stronger than Wei Ling Yang, but he could not compare in this aspect. However, Wei Ling Yang had only sneaked half the distance, when he was discovered by old ancestor Shuihu's powerful investigative killer move. Where are you going? Old ancestor Shuihu furiously shouted, as he waved his hand. Immediately, a boundless blizzard rose up from thin air, heaven and earth changed colors, all living beings went silent. Wei Lingyang was immediately overwhelmed. Wei Lingyang was not discouraged by being obstructed, he constantly changed his directions to break through old ancestor Shui Hu's obstruction, and with Bai Chen Tian's cooperation, it was a very good tactic of distraction. Lady Wan Shou was breaking out in cold sweat, she did not have any mood to refine currently and was concentrating on this crucial battle. If old ancestor Shui Hu won, everything would be safe, any danger would also take a turn for the better. If old ancestor Shui Hu lost, then everything was lost, all their efforts would burst like a bubble. Although old ancestor Shui Hu had high battle strength, the other side had 2 rank 8 GU immortals and an immortal GU house, edge-linked camp. On the contrary, the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation was of limited help to a rank 8 GU immortal like old ancestor Shui Hu. Wei Lingyang wanted to pincer attack, which no doubt attracted a lot of old ancestor Shui Hu's attention, causing the latter to find it hard to use his full strength. If one of the rank 8 GU immortals attacks the snowy peaks, the consequences will be unimaginable. Lady Wan Shou was filled with worries. Right now, snowy mountain blessed land was already in danger that threatened its very existence. Lady Wan Shou, I have an idea which can let you resolve this danger. Right at this time, a message arrived in Lady Wan Shou's immortal aperture. This is. Lady Wan Shou was greatly shocked. Because the GU worm that had transmitted the message was one which Lady Wan Shou had all along kept in her immortal aperture and never used. Many years ago, not long after Lady Wan Shou had underwent immortal ascension. Inside a cave, Senior, so you were already here, this junior will leave, I don't dare disturb Senior from taking this true inheritance. Lady Wan Shou's heart palpitated at the surging aura released by this mysterious GU immortal. But who knew this mysterious GU immortal would suddenly say, little girl, you could become a GU immortal at such a young age, and also know your own limits, knowing when to retreat or advance, quite good. I don't have the qualifications to take this true inheritance. I am willing to give this true inheritance to you, but, after you inherit it, you need to tell its contents to me. You will also owe me a favor, if there is a situation in the future, you must help the person who uses this information path GU worm. Lady Wan Shou considered for just a moment before agreeing. She actually had no other choice. Because if she did not agree, she probably could not leave this place alive with her cultivation level. If so, it was better to take a bet on this. Good, come, we shall set the agreement. The mysterious GU immortal smiled brightly while stroking his beard. This scene of the past quickly flashed in Lady Wan Shou's mind. She immediately replied, may I ask if you also have interest in fortune rivaling heaven GU? That GU worm quickly transmitted the reply. Haha, Lady Wan Shou, it seems you have genuine feelings towards old ancestor Shui Hu. Rest assured, we don't have any ill intention towards you, we only need you to refine a GU material. If you can do this, we will help you and your husband to force back these central continent experts. Then I shall welcome you, honored guests. Lady Wan Shou nodded after a bit of pondering. After a while, a group of 4 GU immortals appeared before Lady Wan Shou. They were Ying Wuxie and the others. He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yun Sheng. Lady Wan Shou immediately recognized 2 of them. The destruction of 88 Truyong building had caused the culprits to be hunted everywhere. He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yun Sheng had become famous, together with Fang Yuan. Right now, Lady Wan Shou was very surprised to see these 2 great culprits. After all, previously, such a huge super force like He tribe had taken the blame for He Lu Lan, and was besieged by various Huangjin tribes, before being annexed by Bai Zhu tribe in the end. As for Bai Ningbing and Ying Wuxie, Lady Wan Shou naturally did not recognize them. However, what made her even more surprised was that the leader of these 4 GU immortals was the weakest strength path immortal zombie, Ying Wuxie. Distinguished guests, I wonder how you can help us repel the enemies? Lady Wan Shou asked. Ying Wuxie smiled brightly, and spoke with assurance, Lady Wan Shou, I know old ancestor Shui who had invited people to remove the alliance agreement on you from back then. But we indeed came with no ill intent, we both have mutual enemies, these GU immortals of Central Continent. We are the best allies you can have. At this moment, you let us in, it meant that you still acknowledge the favor from back then and that you realize the dangerous situation you are in. But as long as you help us refine an immortal material first, everything can be solved easily. What immortal material? Take it out. Lady Wan Shou extended her hands. However, Ying Wuxie shook his head, giving a bitter smile. This immortal material is inside your immortal aperture, Lady Wan Shou. Oh, it is that purple gold rock which old ancestor Shui Hu took from Northern Plains Zombie Alliance's graveyard in the past. Ying Wuxie replied. Lady Wan Shou's pupils shrunk slightly, letting out wisps of sharp light as she took out an immortal material. This. The four immortals looked at it. This rock was only the size of a palm and was shining in purple gold light. Ying Wuxie heaved a sigh. Yes, it is this rock. So you are members of Shadow Sect. Lady Wan Shou exposed the identity of Ying Wuxie in the group. Ying Wuxie was not surprised, admitting frankly, Fairy, you have great knowledge, I will trouble you. Lady Wan Shou nodded. As such, Central Continent's GU Immortals were indeed enemies of her and these Shadow Sect GU Immortals. As the common saying went, the enemy of an enemy is a friend. Also, Lady Wan Shou glanced at the battle in the air, before turning her gaze to this purple gold rock. What kind of immortal material is this? I was not able to identify it and even others did not know. I won't hide it from you, I have already tried to refine this purple gold rock, but I had no results. Ying Wuxie smiled brightly, his tone carrying some pride. That is because this is a special method of my Shadow Sect. Lady Wan Shou, you don't know the correct procedures and methods, I will teach you, you just need to follow them and you will succeed. An ancient sword dragon was flying above the clouds as it finally arrived at Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. From the outside world, the scenes inside Snowy Mountain Blessed Land could not be seen. Life and death battles were going on in the Blessed Land, storms and lightning razed the battlefield, but in the outside world, it was sunny and peaceful. They entered Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Strange. Fang Yuan could not help but have some doubts. He knew old ancestor Shui Hu had turned Snowy Mountain Blessed Land into a danger zone, to refine fortune rivaling heaven GU. Ying Wuxie and the others actually entered it. Was this true or an illusion? Would it be like that time in Eastern Sea when Ying Wuxie and the others made arrangements in the GU formation, creating a facade and deceiving Fang Yuan's Qi-Lux sensation? But if it was true, it signified too many things. Fang Yuan hesitated. He had the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle, but it was not wise to rashly charge in. He decided not to charge in for the moment, and simply wait and see. Chapter 1269, Rank 8 Miniman. Shui Hu, take this. Wei Lingyang softly pointed his right hand towards old ancestor Shui Hu. Immediately, a grand beam of light shot towards old ancestor Shui Hu. Old ancestor Shui Hu gave a light snort as he waved his hand. A large wall of ice appeared and blocked the beam of light easily. Next, old ancestor Shui Hu breathed out cold air which flew towards Wei Lingyang, resembling spiraling hatchets. Wei Lingyang's expression immediately changed. These spiraling ice hatchets were extremely difficult to deal with. He had already suffered from them. The main thing was, he did not have restrictive methods against them. Helplessly, Wei Lingyang could only fly back into Edge-Linked Camp, and use the powerful defensive ability of Edge-Linked Camp to protect himself. Boom boom boom. A series of soft sounds echoed as the ice hatchets followed Wei Lingyang, and smashed into Edge-Linked Camp. Edge-Linked Camp shook intensely, large amounts of cold air spread over it, instantly freezing many of its mortal GU to death. Quick, repair the Immortal GU house. Someone is injured, heal them quickly. Activate the Immortal GU house, use offense as defense. The GU Immortals inside the Immortal GU house were agitated. Wei Lingyang was breathing roughly, his right hand had frozen completely. Who knew when it happened? When was I hit? Even Wei Lingyang himself was surprised at the condition of his right hand. Old ancestor Shui Hu's methods were endless. Even when they were not very powerful, they were sinister and insidious, making people unable to defend effectively. Wei Lingyang had been struck by old ancestor Shui Hu's move unknowingly, and was injured. He tried several methods, but the condition of his right hand showed no signs of improving. This injury is so troublesome, Bai Chen-Tian breathed sharply. It is not a big problem, I only need to seal my right hand for the moment. I am now worried about Myriad Tidal Dragon's end. He is controlling 2 immortal GU houses and also has the help of most of the GU immortals that came in this expedition, but what he is facing is Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace as well as Longevity Heaven. We must rescue Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun quickly, and join up with Myriad Tidal Dragon, then retreat to Central Continent. Wei Lingyang's gaze flickered continuously. Central Continent's GU immortals naturally had come prepared. Although they met with an accident in the spaceless tunnel, Central Continent's accumulation was more than enough. When these GU immortals reacted, they quickly and smoothly escaped the danger. But the current situation was extremely unfavorable to them. It was already difficult to deal with Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. Now that they had split their forces, the decision-maker, Wei Lingyang, was facing great mental pressure. Rumble. Thunderous explosions occurred endlessly, Edge-Link Camp was shaking continuously and was losing ground. Central Continent's 2 rank 8 GU Immortals were elites among rank 8s and were qualified to be members of Heavenly Court. They were naturally very powerful. However, Northern Plains excelled in battle strength among the 5 regions, and Old Ancestor Shui, who was the strongest expert among the rank 8s of the current Northern Plains. Right now, he displayed such astonishing offense that Central Continent's side was not able to gain the upper hand since the moment they had started fighting him. This won't do. Treat your injuries and control the Immortal GU house. I will go distract Old Ancestor Shui. Bai Chentian said through clenched teeth. You must be careful, Wei Lingyang said to Bai Chentian with concern in his voice, as he knew his injuries had yet to recover. Bai Chentian flew out of Edge-Link Camp and quickly used his Immortal Killer move, turning into a green ray of light, and flying down towards the snowy peaks. Bai Chentian intended to destroy the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation. With its destruction, Edge-Link Camp would not be obstructed and could dive down without resistance, directly saving Zhao Lianyun and perhaps Ma Hongyun as well. Old Ancestor Shui might be powerful, but he would not be able to block Edge-Link Camp's charge. Stop daydreaming. Old Ancestor Shui, who had already seen through Central Continent's tactics, he activated his Immortal Killer move. Immediately, endless hailstones fell down from the sky. Each of these hailstones was enormous, the size of a mound. They crashed down with loud sounds, and started turning into snow monsters. These snow monsters were of at least Desolate Beast level, and among them were ancient Desolate Beast snow monsters as well. They stood on the snowy peaks and roared towards the sky. Old Ancestor Shui suddenly took in a deep breath. 2 lumps of cold air, so deeply blue that they were to the point of being black, were forming in his breath. The cold air was emitted, giving rise to a powerful blizzard. The snow monsters were like fish in water in the blizzard, they were even able to soar with the help of the blizzard. Bai Chentian, however, was greatly restricted. So powerful, Old Ancestor Shui knows he cannot use battlefield killer moves inside the GU formation, so he actually disassembled his signature battlefield killer move. His ice and snow path attainment is probably already at Great Grand Master level. Whether it be Bai Chentian or Wei Lingyang, they were both shocked at this scene. At Great Grand Master level, every killer move could be casually disassembled and interchanged at will. Their understanding towards the path was already close to the Tao. But, what if you add me? Wei Lingyang sneered. The next moment, he also charged out of Edge-Link Camp, towards the GU formation. The injury on his right had already healed completely. He clearly had very high attainment in the healing aspect. Old Ancestor Shui's expression slightly changed. Facing 2 rank 8 GU Immortals at once, along with an Immortal GU house, he clearly appeared to be stretched thin and had slightly lost his control over the battle situation. After all, he was unable to destroy the Immortal GU house for the moment, and the 2 rank 8 GU Immortals were also experts. Most importantly, Old Ancestor Shui had to protect the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation. Rank 6 and Rank 7 GU Immortals could not break this formation, but Rank 8 GU Immortals were different. Bai Chentian and Wei Lingyang were attacking the enemy's weak points, gradually turning around their situation and gaining slight initiative. Immortal GU House Edge-Link Camp was controlled by a group of Rank 7 GU Immortals and was like a turtle shell in defense, not seeking glory on the battlefield but content with not showing flaws, not allowing Old Ancestor Shui to make a fatal move for some time. Boom boom boom. Every now and then, the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation shook and emitted buzzing sounds. This was the result of a small portion of attacks from Bai Chentian or Wei Lingyang that had escaped Old Ancestor Shui's obstruction, striking snowy mountain-blessed land. Amazing. Hang in there, lords and our comrades of Central Continent. Zhao Lianyun and the group no longer needed to take a risk, they were standing at the top of their respective snowy peaks, and gazing at the battle above. Similarly, the surviving snowy peak lords were also gazing at the sky. Their faces were filled with worry. The power of Rank 8 GU Immortals, it is truly astonishing and terrifying. Because of this formation, the aftereffects of the battle have not spread, otherwise we would have died miserably. Lord Shui is strong, but the Central Continent invaders are extremely crafty. If this goes on, the formation will be destroyed sooner or later. And, on the first snowy peak of Snowy Mountain, the refinement of the purple gold rock immortal material had reached its final stage. I didn't expect that I had to use enshrouding fragrance to dissolve the purple gold rock. Lady Wan Shou's horizons had broadened at this moment. Enshrouding fragrance was also an immortal material. Using immortal material to refine immortal material, this method was rarely seen, and Lady Wan Shou also found that the essence of this method was food path. Food path was rare, no wonder Lady Wanshou had no ideas on how to deal with this purple gold rock. The last layer of the rock surface was dissolved, and a dazzling purple light soared to the skies, forcing everyone to look away. Lady Wanshou narrowed her eyes to a slit, and was barely able to see a figure in the purple light. This figure was very small, only about the size of an adult's thumb, and it had two thin purple wings on its back. Miniman. Lady Wanshou was slightly stunned as she recognized this figure's race. Bathed in the purple light, the Miniman slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were a bright and deep purple color. As he opened his eyes, a powerful aura leaked out of him. Rank 8 GU Immortal. In an instant, this aura caused the fierce battle in the air to slow down. Why is there another rank 8 GU Immortal? And it is the aura of Northern Plains. Bai Chentian and Wei Lingyang looked at each other, both feeling the situation going awry. We pay respects to Lord Purple. Ying Wuxie had already brought the GU Immortals with him, to bow towards this rank 8 Miniman. Only Bai Ningbing was still standing upright. I have woken up again. The Miniman GU Immortal blinked his eyes, the expression of confusion quickly disappeared from his face, replaced by a cold and indifferent expression. Chapter 1270. Sub and Main Fate Reversing Sacrificial Refinement Formation. The Miniman GU Immortal thought briefly before using an immortal killer move, calling out, "Big, big, big." Thus, his body rapidly expanded like a balloon. Soon, he reached a normal human size. Furthermore, the wings on his back vanished as well. On the outside, he looked just like a normal human. Right now, the GU Immortals present could finally see the appearance of this mysterious rank 8 GU Immortal. He was an unimpressive old man, even looking a little disheveled. His only special feature was his purple hair, so messy that he resembled a beggar. Plop. Tai Bai Yunsheng had tears flowing down his face. He knelt down as he shook in excitement, shouting, "Master! Oh, it is you. I remember I gave you a time path true inheritance." The rank 8 GU Immortal smiled, exposing his uneven yellow teeth. Even though our sect's plan succeeded, many unexpected mishaps occurred. This was what happened. Fighting against time, Ying Wuxie went forward and transmitted many wills and thoughts to the purple-haired old man. In a moment, the purple-haired old man understood everything. It was a pity, heavens will won by a margin. But all hope is not lost. Ying Wuxie, you did well, it has been hard on you. And Tai Bai Yunsheng, stand up. Now, while I am still conscious, we will join with Shuihu and take down these Central Continent GU Immortals. The situation was dire. The purple-haired old man noticed that the rank 8 GU Immortals were the key to this battle. He did not hesitate. His body turned into a purple light as he flew into the sky. In a moment, he stood beside old ancestor Shuihu. Friend, your name is? Old ancestor Shuihu was not surprised. Lady Wanshou had already used a GU worm to inform him about everything that happened regarding the group from Shadow Sect. With the help of the mysterious expert, old ancestor Shuihu felt very excited. I have many names, but, the purple-haired old man said this and showed a smile with deep meaning. Shuihu, you may call me Purple Mountain True Monarch. At this point, old ancestor Shuihu and Purple Mountain True Monarch collaborated, dealing with the two rank 8s from Central Continent, as well as Edge-Linked Camp. Purple Mountain True Monarch had incredible strength. Even though he only attacked sparsely, each of his attacks were extremely effective in turning the situation around. Any ordinary rank 8 could already help old ancestor Shuihu turn this around. Not to mention the mysterious and unfathomable Purple Mountain True Monarch. Wei Lingyang and Bai Chentian fought desperately. They exerted all their efforts, but they could not stop the situation from tilting towards Northern Plains' favor. After more than 10 rounds of fighting, they were forced to return to Edge-Linked Camp. They could not defend against old ancestor Shuihu and Purple Mountain True Monarch personally. The Peak Lords saw this and cheered loudly. Without Central Continent's GU Immortals attacking the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation, the result of this battle was obvious. Zhao Lianyun and the other 4 GU Immortals who were trapped in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land had pale expressions. The battle had turned for the worse. Their hopes of survival were dwindling. What should they do? Outside Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, an ancient sword dragon was hiding among the clouds. Shadow Sect actually has connections with Snowy Mountain. Then why did Qin Bai Sheng not request for Snowy Mountain's help when he was fighting against Feng Juzhe in Luopo Valley? Or perhaps their relationship is not as deep as I think. Qi Luck Sensation was telling Fang Yuan that Ying Wuxie and the rest were inside Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. They did not leave. Fang Yuan's pursuit was obstructed. He was unwilling to give up. He was waiting outside, to see if there was a chance. And at a certain place 1,000 li away, 2 GU Immortals descended from the sky. They were none other than Longevity Heaven's Black Extremity and Flood Extremity. "This is the place," Black Extremity said as he used his GU worms, causing a huge commotion. The small slope that was in front of them started to shine in rainbow light. Flood Extremity realized at once. "So you have set up a GU formation at this place, you need me to control the GU formation now." Black Extremity shook his head. "Wait until we get inside." He took a large step ahead, entering the GU formation, as Flood Extremity followed behind. Once they were inside the GU formation, Flood Extremity's expression changed. He said in shock, "This GU formation has a grand aura, as expected of your personal arrangement, Black Extremity. I can tell that once activated, it will have incredible strength." But towards the end, Flood Extremity had a hesitant tone. "But what?" Black Extremity looked at him with much interest. Flood Extremity said in a profound tone, "But I feel that this formation is not complete, it is missing something. It is like a lake, there should be something connecting it to the sea." Black Extremity heard this and his eyebrows rose. He praised and clapped. "As expected of a quasi-great Grand Master of Water Path, you are already proficient in comprehending other paths through your main path." "That's right. This GU formation is just a sub-formation, there is a corresponding main formation." "Then where is the main formation?" Flood Extremity frowned. Before Black Extremity answered, he had an inspiration as he said in realization, "I understand. The main formation is the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land." "Indeed." Black Extremity laughed. "I was tasked earlier to act as Sun Minglu and get near Lady Wan Shou. Eventually, I created the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation which used reverse flow river. Even though old ancestor Shui, who is currently the strongest person in Northern Plains, he is not proficient in formation path, he could not tell that I had a backdoor. Right now, as long as I activate this sub-formation, I can make the main formation in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land break apart, and draw the reverse flow river here. Once the GU formation collapses, everyone and everything in the surrounding 10,000 li of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land would all be swept here." Black Extremity said with an excited gaze. Flood Extremity was shocked. "In this case, wouldn't those 4 rank 8 great experts be sent here too?" Black Extremity shook his head. "Reverse flow river is a secluded domain of heaven and earth, it is not ordinary, it has an incredibly large number of Dao marks. As long as one falls into reverse flow river, even rank 8 great experts cannot use any GU worms. In less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, when Ren Zhu traveled up the reverse flow river, he did not use any GU worms within the river. Then wouldn't they be meat on the chopping block for us?" Flood Extremity was excited. But Black Extremity shook his head. "We are outside reverse flow river, if we make any attacks, it will be reversed and reflect back at us. This is reverse flow river, the word reverse naturally has deep meaning." Flood Extremity was confused. "In this case, how can we save Ma Hongyun and capture Zhao Lianyun?" "Ha ha ha," Black Extremity laughed. "Did you forget that reverse flow river is still subjected to the influence of both my sub and main fate reversing sacrificial refinement formation? When the main formation collapses, reverse flow river would flow towards us. By then, the order of everyone in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land would be arranged by me, Zhao Lianyun and Ma Hongyun would be at the front of reverse flow river. Lady Wan Shou and the rest would be behind, while Central Continent's GU Immortals would be even further back, those rank 8 GU Immortals would be at the end." "Incredible," Flood Extremity said with shining eyes. He clapped. "This way, in order to escape from Lady Wan Shou and the rest, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun would desperately struggle and move forward, to pull ahead of the rest behind. But as long as they are ahead, we will be able to interact with them here and capture them alive." However, Flood Extremity frowned. "If Zhao Lianyun and Ma Hongyun are unable to persevere, would they be like Ren Zhu and be washed away by the river? If that happens, they would fall behind the other GU Immortals, wouldn't it foil our plans?" Black Extremity smiled bitterly. "This is the biggest flaw in the plan. But traveling in reverse flow river has nothing to do with cultivation level or strength, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun are not at a disadvantage. But this is not an assured result." Flood Extremity was not satisfied with this. Black Extremity shrugged. "Then what do you want from a rank 7 GU Immortal like me? This is the best way already. After all, we are not plotting against 2 rank 7 GU Immortals, but the entirety of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land and Central Continent's GU Immortal experts, involving multiple rank 8 great experts, a total of 4 at that." Flood Extremity was speechless. He nodded helplessly. This was their limit indeed. In fact, it was already very impressive that Black Extremity could achieve this much. Don't worry, we are just part of the arrangements. Lord South Desolation has woken up, he definitely has other plans. We just need to do our part, that will suffice. Black Extremity patted Flood Extremity's shoulder in consolation. Chapter 1271, Implicating Fang Yuan. Boom boom boom. The silhouette of the giant horn shot around in the sky, sending out a barrage of attacks. Around old ancestor Shuihu, frost energy was oozing, turning into blue icy cold frost that swept at Edge-linked camp in layers. The two Central Continent rank 8s in Edge-linked camp were desperately gritting their teeth. The GU Immortals behind them were trying to repair the Immortal GU houses. They were covered in sweat and had panicked expressions. Meanwhile, beside old ancestor Shuihu, Purple Mountain True Monarch was covered in dazzling purple light, radiating in the entire Snowy Mountain blessed land. Central Continent's group was attacking Snowy Mountain. Purple Mountain True Monarch was tasked to defend it. This blessed land was the foundation of the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation. As long as they defended it, Central Continent would lose. What should we do? Bai Chen-Tian had a frantic expression. If this continues, not only will we fail to save Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, we will also lose this immortal GU house and our own lives. Wei Lingyang was the leader of this expedition. He had a grim expression. The situation was very disadvantageous for the Central Continent GU Immortals. It could even be said they were hopeless. According to the plans of Central Continent's GU Immortals, they were split into two. One group would restrain Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace, while the other would save Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, before they joined up and left Northern Plains together. But now, the group that went to Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was already close to defeat, and the other group was also waiting for their rescue. This was Northern Plains, not Central Continent. 3 rank 8s and 3 immortal GU houses, along with a band of GU Immortals, were still a relatively small number of people. Of course, this was also because the Northern Plains GU Immortals were prepared. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's plan was not known to Central Continent. Central Continent struck with a powerful attack. According to the planning of this assault, there was a huge chance of success. But as the situation progressed, the targets of their sneak attack became strong foes, and with Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's arrangements, Central Continent's GU Immortals fell into this dangerous situation. Wei Lingyang's thoughts were churning rapidly. A moment later, he gritted his teeth and gave his orders, seemingly exerting his last bit of strength. We will retreat. Forget about Zhao Lianyun and Ma Hongyun. After Purple Mountain True Monarch appeared, the situation went beyond Wei Lingyang's control. If this dragged on, Central Continent would suffer even greater losses. Wei Lingyang decided to retreat back to Black Heaven, and join up with the other 2 immortal GU houses and escape to Central Continent. Edge-linked camp was directed to leave. Old ancestor Shuihu and Purple Mountain True Monarch could not stop it together. After all, they had no immortal GU houses. They could not stop it from charging away. However, just when Edge-linked camp was about to charge out of the GU formation, a change occurred. The entirety of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was rumbling intensely. A great earthquake. What is going on? The blessed land is collapsing. Zhao Lianyun and the others, as well as the remaining peak lords, were extremely shocked. Rumble. With a loud sound, the snowy peaks started to break apart. What is going on? Old ancestor Shuihu showed shock on his face. The entire formation is breaking apart. Purple Mountain True Monarch's eyes shined brightly, before he corrected himself. No. This formation. Before he finished his words, the GU Immortals present heard the sound of waves. At the next moment, giant rushing waves appeared out of nowhere, sweeping the battlefield. It was the secluded domain of heaven and earth, Reverse Flow River. Oh no, my wife. Everything happened too quickly. Old ancestor Shuihu wanted to charge back to the first peak, but he was engulfed by the river along the way. Within Reverse Flow River, no GU worms could be activated. Old ancestor Shuihu could not defend himself. He was washed away by the rushing tides. He had the highest battle strength in this place. If this happened to him, there was no need to mention the rest. Immortal GU House Edge-linked camp broke apart in the river. The Central Continent GU Immortals were washed along the river like falling dumplings. Zhao Lianyun and the rest, the peak lords of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, Lady Wan Shou, Ying Wuxia's group, and Ma Hongyun, were all inside Reverse Flow River. Snowy Mountain Blessed Land completely collapsed. Only a framework was left as the winds of assimilation started to blow. They're coming. Far away, Black Extremity's head was bulging with veins. He manipulated the sub-formation with all his strength. He was the culprit behind Snowy Mountain's destruction. And beside him, Flood Extremity was defending him vigilantly. At the final moment, Flood Extremity had to use his water path methods to direct Reverse Flow River. What? Fang Yuan felt his vision turning bright as a huge torrent engulfed him in an instant. Once the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation broke, everyone and everything within the surrounding 10,000 li of snowy mountain-blessed land was engulfed by Reverse Flow River. Fang Yuan was within this range, he was not spared. From the raging river water, Fang Yuan's head emerged on the surface. This is Reverse Flow River. He had a wide range of knowledge. After his shock, he realized the origin of the river that he was in. Snowy mountain-blessed land contains Reverse Flow River. No wonder my ancient sword dragon transformation was removed for no apparent reason. This was natural. Inside Reverse Flow River, GU worms could not be used. Fang Yuan's ancient sword dragon transformation was an immortal killer move, it needed Immortal GU and Mortal GU to activate. Thus, the moment Fang Yuan was swept in, all of his GU worms stopped working, he returned to his original form. Thankfully, I can swim. Fang Yuan moved his limbs, swimming skillfully. He looked ahead. On the surface of the raging river, there were many things floating or swimming. Large numbers of wild beasts, trees and grass, and even rocks. Reverse Flow River's waves were extremely rough, gushes of currents caused rocks or trees to move around randomly, creating chaos in the river. Fang Yuan's heart sank. In this situation, he could not use GU worms, his battle strength was at rock bottom, he could only rely on his own body's defense. At this time, Fang Yuan heard something that did not sound right near him. He quickly turned around. He saw that a giant metal tree was flowing along the river, the trunk was as thick as an elephant, it rushed towards him. Danger! Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk, he wanted to dodge. But in the torrential Reverse Flow River, he could not move easily, his speed was very slow, the metal tree crashed into his waist. Fang Yuan was quickly knocked into the depths of the river. Next, he rapidly moved his four limbs, before resurfacing above the river. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, he breathed raggedly, taking in fresh air as he inspected his body, checking his injuries. He was shocked when he checked it. Because he had no injuries. He only had a bruise on his waist. But soon, his bruise vanished. Fang Yuan's eyes shined, he realized, oh right. My body is not normal, I have the sovereign immortal body. Inside Reverse Flow River, Fang Yuan could not use any GU worms, he could only rely on his own body. However, his sovereign immortal body was not normal at all. Chapter 1272, what is that? After the Battle of Yitian Mountain ended, Fang Yuan had tested this body's limits. He did not use any GU worms, but he was fast like a charging horse. By just leaping gently, he could jump 10 meters of distance. Jumping down from 180 meters while pointing his head downwards, he felt a little dizzy, but it only lasted for 3 breaths of time, and was gone before he knew it. He had great strength and endurance as well, he ran for minutes without feeling any fatigue at all. His 5 senses and visual acuity were beyond amazing. His vision was outstanding, looking 10,000 steps ahead, everything was clear to him. His heartbeat returned to normal after exercising intensely, every time it beat, it was very strong and lively. His thinking speed was extremely fast as well. Even if it was under the light of wisdom, he could maintain it for a long time. Even GU immortals could rarely reach this extent with only their bodies. Not just a metal tree, even if a metal hill crashed at him, Fang Yuan would be intact. This was the sovereign immortal body's own physique, it had nothing to do with GU worms, it had to do with his Tao marks. Inside Reverse Flow River, I cannot use GU worms, but the same goes for others. Meanwhile, my sovereign immortal body is sufficiently strong, my Tao marks are also high in quantity. Fang Yuan thought about it, his mood turned into excitement. Ying Wu Xie, he flung his limbs as he swam forward like a swordfish. The whole Reverse Flow River was running quickly, but the overall flow was affected by the formation, it flowed towards Black Extremity and Flood Extremity. Roar! A striped tiger was climbing onto a plank with its limbs. Fang Yuan swam to the tiger but it was unmoved. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan panted as he took a little rest on the plank. But this plank could not endure the weight of both the human and tiger, it started sinking. The tiger was anxious, it bore its fangs at Fang Yuan and wanted to bite him, but Fang Yuan snorted and stretched out his arm, crushing the tiger's head as he raised his fist and punched this tiger to death. Thankfully, this is not a desolate beast but an ordinary beast instead. Against a desolate beast, the sovereign immortal body was not enough. Snowy mountain-blessed land did not lack desolate beasts. But to refine fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU, In activating the formation and defending against enemies, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land had already been modified. GU immortals with desolate beasts had kept them in their immortal apertures, they would not allow enemies to kill the desolate beasts, that would just be stupid. Fang Yuan swam in Reverse Flow River, he wanted to find Ying Wuxie. Snowy Mountain Blessed Land collapsed, Reverse Flow River was pouring out, Fang Yuan did not know that Purple Mountain True Monarch had awakened. He was still thinking of old ancestor Shui, who was the main enemy. He estimated that Ying Wuxie had some relationship with Snowy Mountain, but it was not close. Otherwise, why would old ancestor Shui Hu not help during the Battle of Yitian Mountain? Fang Yuan's analysis was not wrong. But his information path methods were too lacking, he did not have enough intel. Right now, even if I meet old ancestor Shui Hu, I can survive. Because in Reverse Flow River, GU worms cannot be used, it is a special environment. Since Ying Wuxie has some connection with old ancestor Shui Hu, if I miss this chance, they will definitely grow rapidly under his protection. If I miss this chance, I might not have another opportunity to eliminate them again. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan moved ahead after resting shortly. But he met Bai Chen Tian, a Central Continent Rank 8 GU Immortal. Fang Yuan was shocked. What is going on? A Rank 8 GU Immortal who isn't old ancestor Shui Hu, and is from Central Continent. Bai Chen Tian was in a terrible state, he was covered in injuries as he rested on a huge turtle's back. These injuries were not from Reverse Flow River's journey, but were sustained in the battle earlier. He was a Rank 8 GU Immortal, his Dao marks conflicted and it was harder to heal from injuries once he sustained them. But in that battle, he was in a weaker position, how could he have time to heal himself? Thus, after the main formation collapsed, he was swept by Reverse Flow River and could not use his GU worms to heal himself, all the way until now. But fortunately, while being washed away in the river, he met a floating turtle and managed to get a chance to rest on it. Fang Yuan discovered Bai Chen Tian, Bai Chen Tian also saw Fang Yuan. But Bai Chen Tian did not recognize Fang Yuan. Because Fang Yuan was in his sovereign immortal body's appearance. His original appearance was exposed by Heavenly Court and was spread over all 5 regions. Even though Bai Chen Tian did not know Fang Yuan, he frowned and became alert. Because Fang Yuan's aura showed that he was a Northern Plains GU Immortal. This was also because of the sovereign immortal body. After passing the regional wall, Fang Yuan could change his aura into that of the region he was in, he was a GU Immortal of the region and could perfectly fuse into it. Who is this? He is not one of the peak lords of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, however, he could have been recruited by old ancestor Shui Hu secretly. Bai Chen Tian stood up on the turtle's shell, looking at Fang Yuan's every movement. Inside Reverse Flow River, even though Bai Chen Tian had rank 8 cultivation level, his GU worms could not be used, he had limited battle strength. Fang Yuan also looked at him alertly, he did not get close. Even though Fang Yuan had the sovereign immortal body, he would be stupid if he thought he was the strongest person in Reverse Flow River. Reverse Flow River did not allow GU worms to be used, but his body was intact, his Dao marks were effective. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body was very powerful, because of the Dao marks on the immortal body. Similarly, if a GU master used Black Boar GU to gain the strength of a boar, he would have the strength path Dao marks carved into his body. If this GU master falls into Reverse Flow River, and is unable to use GU worms, he would still be able to use his body and attack with the strength of a boar. As for other GU immortals, over the long course of their cultivation journey, how could they not use any GU worms like Black Boar GU to increase the number of Dao marks in their bodies? This was natural, anyone who was not a fool would know the advantages of such Dao marks. Fang Yuan's body had its advantages, so did other GU immortals, the extent simply varied from one person to another. For rank 8 GU immortals, they had deep foundations, Fang Yuan did not want to fight against Bai Chen Tian at the moment. You are a Central Continent GU immortal. I am a Northern Plains GU immortal, but I have a grudge with old ancestor Shui Hu. I saw him trying to refine the rank 8 immortal GU, I did not want him to succeed, so I went to the outside of the Blessed Land and tried to find a way to break in. Are you a helper for him to refine the GU? Fang Yuan probed. Bai Chen Tian's frown eased a little, he answered, old ancestor Shui Hu is also my enemy. Not long ago, I was fighting against him in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, but this unexpected surprise happened. My injuries are all caused by old ancestor Shui Hu. The two talked and exchanged information. Fang Yuan realized now that so many things had happened in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. But Bai Chen Tian was very vague about many things, Fang Yuan could not get much intel. They did not trust each other after all. This was natural. They only had interacted a little, it was hard to tell what the other person's intentions were. And in this situation where GU worms could not be used, both sides were at their highest alertness. Fang Yuan knew he could not get more information from Bai Chentian and decided to leave. He left that huge wild turtle. Even during the conversation, he did not get closer, while Bai Chentian did not invite Fang Yuan to rest on the turtle's back. Bai Chentian saw that Fang Yuan was leaving and his expression relaxed a little. But at this moment, an unexpected surprise occurred. Ping! A soft sound echoed. A fist-sized thing was washed down by the river, landing on Fang Yuan's face. This thing was soft and tiny, like a jellyfish, it stuck to Fang Yuan's forehead. What is this? Fang Yuan was stunned, he wanted to pull it away. But at this time, he heard Bai Chentian call out, "Be gentle, don't crush it." Oh, Fang Yuan was surprised, what was it that made a rank 8 GU immortal nervous? Chapter 1273, Affection Immortal GU. Fang Yuan held this jellyfish-like GU in his hand, looking at it. At the next moment, his eyes shined. This was an immortal GU. But he did not know its rank. Because in Reverse Flow River, no GU worm could be used. These GU worms that fell into Reverse Flow River were like fossils, they were sealed and their auras could not be felt. This made Fang Yuan unaware of the nature of this jellyfish immortal GU earlier, when it was on his face. Only when Bai Chentian reminded him did Fang Yuan realize. If this were in the outside world, without Reverse Flow River, immortal GU aura would leak, Fang Yuan would detect it from far away, and determine what its rank was. As for what immortal GU it was, that would depend on the GU immortal's own knowledge. This immortal GU seems to be Affection GU. Fang Yuan's knowledge was wide, after looking at it, he could guess what this GU was. Wisdom Path had 3 elements, thoughts, wills, and emotions. Since there was Love Immortal GU, there was also Affection Immortal GU, of course one. Fang Yuan's guess was right. Bai Chentian could not help but feel anxious. Affection GU was very important to Central Continent's GU immortals. Why? Because this immortal GU was temporarily used in Edge-Linked Camp, there were many mortal GU along with it. This Affection Immortal GU, along with many mortal GU, could create a new effect in Edge-Linked Camp, that was to track the location of Love GU. Even if Love GU was in an immortal aperture, it would not be affected. That was how Edge-Linked Camp managed to find Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Otherwise, inside the spaceless tunnel, when Love GU sent Zhao Lian Yun, Yu Yi Zi, Shi Zheng Yi, Bu Zhen Zi, and Mu Ling Lan away, who would know where they went? After adding Affection Immortal GU and other GU worms, Edge-Linked Camp could detect Love Immortal GU and traced it to Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. But afterwards, because they fought with old ancestor Shuihu and Purple Mountain True Monarch, Edge-Linked Camp sustained great pressure, and took much damage. Before this, due to the long journey and the collapse of the spaceless tunnel, Edge-Linked Camp was not complete to begin with. And now, after Flood Extremity and Black Extremity activated the GU formation, destroying the main formation, Reverse Flow River flowed out and struck the heavily damaged Edge-Linked Camp. This way, the Immortal GU house broke apart and the Immortal GU and Mortal GU inside were all swept away by the water. If this were the outside world, these Immortal GU and Mortal GU would fly towards the GU Immortals who had their wills contained. But inside Reverse Flow River, these GU worms were restricted by the special environment, they were forcefully sealed, hibernating like they were no longer alive. Affection GU was one of the countless GU worms that made up the Immortal GU house. Or rather, it was a very lucky one. Because most of the GU worms had flowed along the river and were destroyed by the waves, or crashed into rocks or trees. GU worms were very fragile. Reverse Flow River became their grave. Of course, there were different types of GU worm body types. Most were broken with one squeeze, but some were like jade or rocks, as tough as jade. Affection GU was different, it had a soft body, it could survive even if there was an impact. Evidently, this was how it survived in Reverse Flow River. But after ending up in Fang Yuan's hands, it was not in good shape. The jellyfish body was very tattered, there was a huge injury that was about a quarter of its size, it was terrifying. Bai Chentian's eyes were very sharp, seeing that Fang Yuan was about to pull away this Affection GU, he called out in worry. But after reminding him, he felt great regret. If he did not say it, Fang Yuan might have thrown it away without care or concern. But now, Fang Yuan's eyes were shining, he realized the truth. Bai Chentian withheld the unease in his heart as he cupped his fists at Fang Yuan. Friend, this GU belongs to Central Continent. Why don't you give this immortal GU to me? You will gain the friendship of Central Continent. Is that all right? Fang Yuan squinted. I can consider that, but what GU is this? You need to tell me. Bai Chentian answered. This is Affection GU, a Wisdom Path GU worm. Wisdom Path GU immortals were rare. Bai Chentian emphasized that this was Affection Immortal GU because he thought that Fang Yuan was not a Wisdom Path GU immortal. Affection GU was not useful to most GU immortals after all. It was a waste to give it away, but it was a burden in one's hands. Why? GU immortals needed wills as their assistants. Be it in sect meetings or in Treasure Yellow Heaven, any will GU could be used widely. But mortal level will GU could achieve this. There was no need to waste one's effort in raising an Affection Immortal GU. After all, if one was not a Wisdom Path GU immortal, with their conflicting Dao marks, using the immortal GU of other paths would have lower effects. At the same time, just Affection Immortal GU could not form any immortal killer moves. Unless it was an immortal killer move of other paths that needed Affection Immortal GU, or any special methods that needed it, then the GU immortal would desire it. Not all immortal GU were popular with people. GU immortals had different paths, so did immortal GU. GU immortals were of rank 6, 7, and 8, so were immortal GU. For GU immortals, only suitable immortal GU had value to them. In the 500 years of Fang Yuan's previous life, during the 5 regions chaotic war, GU immortals often held trading sessions to exchange their immortal GU. But Bai Chentian would not think that Fang Yuan was the most special GU immortal of all. Firstly, he had Grandmaster Wisdom Path attainment level. Such a person had to be considered a Wisdom Path GU immortal. Secondly, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body did not have conflicting Dao marks, he could cultivate any path. Lastly, Fang Yuan had been fretting over this matter. Even though he had Wisdom Path attainment level and methods, he did not have relevant Wisdom Path immortal GU. Thus, this Affection Immortal GU was very important to Fang Yuan. Thus, he placed Affection Immortal GU into the pocket of his shirt. Inside Reverse Flow River, the immortal aperture's entrance could not be opened, he had to carry it with him. Bai Chentian saw this and his heart sank, his tone was even more anxious. Friend. Take out that immortal GU, we are not enemies, we can go through a transaction according to what we need. Fang Yuan looked at Bai Chentian, we can have a transaction, but not here. Chapter 1274, Fighting Rank 8 in the River. If possible, Fang Yuan wanted to use Affection Immortal GU to trade for Immortal GU that suited him more. But in Reverse Flow River, transactions were impossible. Because no GU worms could be used, information path methods that allowed two parties to engage in transactions were unusable. Fang Yuan wanted to exchange for Immortal GU, but Bai Chentian could not take out any Immortal GU, because GU worms hibernated while inside Reverse Flow River, let alone those in an immortal aperture, they would not respond to any of a GU immortal's summons even if they were inside their bodies. Thus, Bai Chentian did not have any chips to use for trade. Bai Chentian knew Fang Yuan's concern, but should he give up this chance and wait for the future? Who knew what would happen in the future? After Black Extremity's action, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was gone, Central Continent's Edge Link Camp was destroyed as well. If Central Continent's group fought again, they would fall into an even deeper disadvantage. Central Continent's GU immortals were barely able to defend themselves. Once they escaped Reverse Flow River, wouldn't they flee immediately? Thus, there was no chance to undergo trade with Fang Yuan. If they did not do the transaction now, what about in the future? Fang Yuan was a Northern Plains GU immortal, while Bai Chentian was a Central Continent GU immortal. Both were in different regions. Even in Treasure Yellow Heaven, Central Continent could not dictate Fang Yuan to do a transaction with them later. What if he made a deal with someone else? What if he raised prices to an absurd level without fear? There were worse situations possible. Bai Chentian was someone with the foresight to consider bad outcomes in advance. Seeing that he could not coax Fang Yuan to give the immortal GU, his killing intent rose. I am a rank 8 GU immortal. Even if I cannot use Immortal GU here, with my Dao Mark Foundation, how can I lose to a rank 7 GU immortal? Thinking like this, Bai Chentian jumped into the river water and swam towards Fang Yuan. At this moment, his hostility was obvious. Fang Yuan sneered internally, as he charged towards Bai Chentian as well. Bai Chentian saw this and became joyful, thinking, this Northern Plains GU immortal looks like a battle maniac. He's simply brainless. The river water moved rapidly, but both parties had extraordinary bodies. They quickly met in the middle. Boom boom boom. Fang Yuan raised his fist and punched at Bai Chentian thrice. Bai Chen was a woodpath Gu immortal, he had great stamina and eyesight, he blocked all 3 attacks. He was shocked. This person looks so young, how can he have such strength? Does he cultivate strength path? He felt that his arm was numb from blocking. But while he was shocked, Bai Chen still retaliated with his other hand. Both sides exchanged fists, they quickly got into a scuffle. Fang Yuan's entire body was a weapon, his head, knee, elbow, and all sorts of jabs were used. Bai Chen was on the back foot, but soon, he held up evenly against Fang Yuan's attacks. Because he had incredible foundation, and his close combat skills were very deep. Even though he had rarely used these techniques after becoming a Gu immortal, currently in actual battle, he was recovering his combat skills. As for Fang Yuan, he had become a Gu immortal more recently. Many years ago, he was a mortal Gu master roaming northern plains and southern border, he was familiar with close combat. The two fought in the water. At times, they lifted their heads above the water and breathed roughly, temporarily resting. Reverse flow river moved rapidly, most of their energy was spent in swimming, they did not actually fight too much. When they fought, the environment was very complex. Because at times, logs or wild beasts would float down the river and force the two to evade them. As a result, after tens of rounds of battle, both sides were breathing roughly, but they could do nothing to the other party. This rank 8 Gu immortal is truly deep in foundation. I wanted to kill a rank 8 in reverse flow river, but now it seems to be wishful thinking. Bai Chen, however, was filled with shock. How can this be? This person is on par with me. I have used Grass Python Immortal Gu previously to gain a huge amount of strength. I have also used Immortal Killer move Wood Armor to carve Dao marks in my body has naturally strong defenses. I even turned my heart into a wood heart and turned my blood into green blood, giving me super healing abilities. These Immortal Killer moves and Immortal Gu, along with my Dao marks as a rank 8 Gu immortal who has so many calamities and tribulations, I definitely outclass this rank 7. But why am I simply evenly matched with him? Bai Chen stared at Fang Yuan, as if he was looking at a monster. Speaking of which, Fang Yuan did not have as many Dao marks as the rank 8 Bai Chen, but in fact, his Dao mark accumulation surpassed most rank 7 Gu immortals. Even though he only became a rank 7 Gu immortal recently. What resisted Bai Chen was the sovereign immortal body. The sovereign immortal body was not a normal human body, it was refined from a Gu worm. Be it Wei Lingyang or Bai Chen, they were humans. But Fang Yuan's body was made from a Gu worm. It could therefore be said that Fang Yuan being a complete otherworldly demon was one of the reasons. The sovereign immortal body made up for the difference in Dao marks between him and Bai Chen, allowing them to fight evenly. Fang Yuan decided to retreat. Even though he did not lose, his intention was to kill the huge threat Ying Wuxie. Earlier, when fighting with Bai Chen, he wanted to test his strength, to see if he could kill a rank 8 Gu immortal. But in fact, Fang Yuan was overly optimistic. He could do nothing to Bai Chen, Fang Yuan had to give up. He did not want to stall it out with Bai Chen, his objective had not been met yet. Fang Yuan wanted to leave, but Bai Chen did not allow him to. Even though Bai Chen could not do anything to Fang Yuan, Affection Immortal Gu was still with Fang Yuan. Even if I cannot win, I need to keep him here. If my companions come later, we can encircle him together. I cannot let him escape. Damn it, this guy. Fang Yuan quickly frowned. He wanted to retreat, but Bai Chen speed and strength were not inferior to his. Even though Fang Yuan wanted to leave, Bai Chen was preventing him from doing so. This gravely affected Fang Yuan's plan. In that case, don't blame me for being ruthless. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with cold light. Obstructed by the wild beast corpse ahead, Fang Yuan's speed fell and Bai Chen reached him again. Fang Yuan turned around to fight him. Both were fighting with their fists and legs in reverse flow river. It was a draw. At the crucial moment, Fang Yuan stretched out his arm and placed Affection Immortal Gu in front of himself. Bai Chen wanted to punch at Fang Yuan's torso. If he hit, Fang Yuan would lose his oxygen supply and would need to go to the surface and breathe in fresh air. This was one of the key points of fighting underwater. But Fang Yuan suddenly took out Affection Immortal Gu, and put it in front of Bai Chen fist. Bai Chen turned pale from shock, he quickly pulled back his fist and revealed a flaw. Fang Yuan laughed coldly on the inside, he used this flaw and charged. Bai Chen had made a mistake and could only block and defend himself, preparing to counterattack. But Fang Yuan suddenly raised Affection Immortal Gu in front of himself, causing Bai Chen to be unable to attack and exposing a flaw. With two flaws exposed, Fang Yuan made use of his advantage and kicked at Bai Chentian's stomach. Bai Chentian was hit and immediately opened his mouth as air bubbles floated up. He did not have enough oxygen now, he changed his tactics and wanted to escape to the surface. But Fang Yuan did not allow this, he stretched out his arms and gripped with them like pincers, pulling Bai Chentian and preventing him from reaching the surface. Bai Chentian suddenly twisted his waist and escaped with a difficult maneuver. He moved like a fish, bursting out with strength. Fang Yuan's left arm could not catch him. Fang Yuan praised on the inside towards this response. Bai Chentian was a Central Continent GU Immortal, but his rank 8 foundation really held no weaknesses. In terms of fighting underwater, he even slightly surpassed Fang Yuan. There was a need to mention, Fang Yuan had lived in Eastern Sea for a long time during the 500 years of his previous life. This way, Bai Chentian instantly swam until he was on top of Fang Yuan. Chapter 1275, Kicking a Rank 8 Great Expert. Fang Yuan's grasp earlier had failed, he raised his arms and grabbed upwards. His left arm missed but his right arm grabbed onto Bai Chentian's leg. Bai Chentian was obstructed, his other leg kicked towards Fang Yuan's head like a fierce dragon. This blow was heavy, if it landed, Fang Yuan would become dizzy and Bai Chentian would easily escape. But Fang Yuan took out Affection Immortal GU and raised it up. Bai Chentian wanted to curse, his leg stopped. Fang Yuan managed to obtain some time to react, he moved his head backwards as his entire body went upside down in the water. Originally, he was like Bai Chentian, they were floating upright. But now that he grabbed Bai Chentian's leg, he became upside down. Bai Chentian saw this and his heart sank, he gasped in his mind. This was because Fang Yuan was grabbing onto his leg with one hand, while the other was holding Affection Immortal GU, he could not attack with strength. But at this moment, in this scene, Fang Yuan had two legs to use. Meanwhile, Bai Chentian's leg was held by Fang Yuan, he could only attack with one other leg. Bai Chentian was shocked, the leg that was free moved around like a butterfly, it was extremely nimble, after kicking for several times, Fang Yuan could only see many shadows of his moving leg. But Fang Yuan had no fear, he kicked with both legs, as he unleashed a flurry of kicks moving like shadows as well. Both parties were fighting in the water, causing huge spirals to form around the river water. Each time their legs collided, a loud sound was emitted in the river water. Bai Chentian could only use one leg, how could he compete with both of Fang Yuan's legs? During the process of fighting, he was often hit by Fang Yuan's legs. Bai Chentian mainly defended himself, as he felt downcast. I am a great rank 8 GU Immortal, to think that this would happen. Scoundrel, as long as I get to the surface and recover my breath, I will deal with you. His arms flailed furiously, dragging Fang Yuan towards the surface as well. But at the next moment, Fang Yuan's eyes shined with brilliance, as he blocked Bai Chentian's kick with one leg, while his other leg kicked at a crucial location. Ah! Bai Chentian was kicked by Fang Yuan, it landed on his crotch. In an instant, his entire face stiffened, he stared with wide-opened eyes, he was about to gasp out his last bit of oxygen left. Bai Chentian was a rank 8 great expert after all, he had superhuman endurance, he forcefully endured it and moved his arms, wanting to swim up to the surface. Boom! Fang Yuan kicked again, Bai Chentian's body shook, this time, he could not help but breathe out a chain of bubbles. Boom boom boom, sensing his huge weakness, Fang Yuan continued to kick. Bai Chentian's face was flushed red, his eyes were bloodshot, he no longer thought of getting to the surface, he wanted to kill Fang Yuan. Who would fight you to the death? Fang Yuan let go, kicking Bai Chentian away with another blow. At the same time, he was pushed away by the force, pulling some distance from Bai Chentian. After getting free, Bai Chentian was dazed for a while before giving up on Fang Yuan, he went to the surface to recover his breath. Fang Yuan turned around and escaped successfully from Bai Chentian. Bai Chentian's head came up to the surface as he breathed in deeply continuously. His crotch was hurting, waves of pain was assaulting his nerves, he felt himself getting dizzy. This accursed fellow, if I have a chance, I will tear out your tendons and burn you to ashes. Bai Chentian watched at the river surface as Fang Yuan swam away rapidly, their distance was enlarging, he could not catch up. Fang Yuan successfully escaped from Bai Chentian, he slowed down to recover his stamina. His legs were numb, Bai Chentian's crotch was not easy to kick. Fang Yuan had immense strength, but his legs still felt numb from kicking it. Evidently, Bai Chentian had thought of defending his crotch, there were many woodpath Dao marks there. At the final crucial moment, Fang Yuan did not fight with Bai Chentian. He knew that with Bai Chen Tian's methods, even if he killed him, he would have to face a terrifying retaliation and would likely get heavily injured or end up dead. Fang Yuan did not want this outcome. He did not need to fight to the death with a rank 8 GU immortal. He had the sovereign immortal body, his future was bright. And his goal to begin with was Ying Wuxie. If he died with Bai Chen Tian, wouldn't Ying Wuxie be laughing his head off? Even if only Bai Chen Tian died, Fang Yuan would still be heavily injured, he would lose the ability to kill Ying Wuxie. Of course, there was something crucial. Even if he killed Bai Chen Tian, Fang Yuan could gain nothing. Immortal apertures could not be opened here, Bai Chen Tian's corpse would be a burden. Fang Yuan could not carry this corpse around with him, even if he could, what if he met Ying Wuxie? Even if he did not meet Ying Wuxie, what would he do if he met Central Continent's GU immortals? Rank 7 GU immortal killing rank 8, this would be a grand feat that would grant him unparalleled honor and glory. But this honor was worthless to Fang Yuan. He continued to swim ahead, trying to find Ying Wuxie. Fang Yuan, is that you? Ying Wuxie heard this and turned around, expressing joy on his face. Come closer, I will pull you up, he quickly said. After a moment, Ying Wuxie dragged Tai Bai Yunsheng onto a huge lotus leaf. This is the leaf of the king lotus, it can float on the surface of the water, to think that you are so lucky. Tai Bai Yunsheng sighed deeply. Ying Wuxie laughed, thinking, I am luck connected to Fang Yuan, how can my luck be bad? But soon, his smile faded as worry appeared on his face again. He looked at the flowing river. Reverse flow river's state is really strange now, we cannot escape. We have to meet up with Purple Mountain True Monarch now, we might be able to take back Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, and even kill that ancient sword dragon that was chasing us. At the mention of Purple Mountain True Monarch, Tai Bai Yunsheng showed admiration on his face. Yes, we should meet up with Master. Achoo, Purple Mountain True Monarch sneezed loudly. He had a bitter expression, sighing, oh, to think that I would end up like this so soon after waking up. Sigh, I am old, my body is weak now, I seem to be getting a cold just because of some water. He was sitting on old ancestor Shuihu's shoulder. Old ancestor Shuihu was swimming, he looked around, trying to find something in reverse flow river. Hearing Purple Mountain True Monarch's words, he snorted, you are doing nothing but you are still complaining. Don't you have wings, why don't you fly out of reverse flow river? Purple Mountain True Monarch was in his original form now. Like how Fang Yuan turned back to a human from ancient sword dragon form, Purple Mountain True Monarch was a rank 8 Miniman GU immortal, he had turned large earlier using an immortal method. Now that he was in reverse flow river, he became a Miniman again. Precisely because of this, he could sit on old ancestor Shuihu's shoulder. You think I don't want to? But this reverse flow river is affected by some power, it is very chaotic, I cannot leave the river. Hee, who created this GU formation for you? Purple Mountain True Monarch asked. Old ancestor Shuihu had a grim expression, Sun Ming Lu. Purple Mountain True Monarch responded with an, oh. It should be him, this was out of my expectations. Old ancestor Shuihu said, he is a member of Longevity Heaven. Old ancestor Shuihu was astute, at this moment, it was not hard to guess where Sun Ming Lu came from. Because Central Continent's GU immortals were already in danger, in the entirety of Northern Plains, who could have the ability and guts to deal with old ancestor Shuihu? Other than Longevity Heaven, there was no one else. Purple Mountain True Monarch said, Longevity Heaven is definitely after Ma Hongyun, as well as Zhao Lianyun. They must be in front. I need to find my wife. Old ancestor Shuihu said. Purple Mountain True Monarch patted his shoulder. Then we need to go ahead. Lady Wan Shou was right beside Ma Hongyun at the time, she was swept away by the river along with them, she should be near them. The fate-reversing refinement sub-formation was shining with a brilliant white golden light. The light burst into the sky, like a huge unconcealable pillar. At this moment, Black Extremity was at the center of the GU formation, manipulating it and directing the flow of reverse flow river. Flood Extremity was outside the GU formation, preventing any intruders from approaching the pillar of light. Chapter 1276, Perseverance of the Miniman. So impressive, this GU formation can actually control reverse flow river. Flood Extremity looked at the pillar of light and praised sincerely. But Black Extremity shook his head. This is not control, I merely created the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation, it is like digging a river channel and letting reverse flow river move in it. We dug the river channel, thus, we can influence the direction that reverse flow river goes. When we retrieve reverse flow river, Longevity Heaven will gain another secluded domain of heaven and earth. Flood Extremity anticipated. Black Extremity instructed again. When we collect reverse flow river, the sub-formation will be destroyed. You have to take note of the time and direction, opening your immortal aperture and letting the river flow in. You are a water path GU immortal, you have a big advantage in doing this. Flood Extremity was troubled. What if reverse flow river changes direction? Are there really no GU worms in this world that can control reverse flow river? Black Extremity frowned slightly. Well no, there isn't, but maybe not necessarily, there might be another possibility. What do you mean? You know the contents of less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. It stated that, Ren Zhu sighed, as long as he had that immortal GU, he would conquer reverse flow river. You mean immortal GU, perseverance? No way, perseverance immortal GU has never appeared before. In my opinion, that story is only telling us to persevere in cultivating and to never give up easily. Less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, Chapter 4, Section 26. Ren Zhu's daughter, boundless forest Samsara, was trapped inside ordinary abyss. She made friends with a miniman. The miniman brought boundless forest Samsara to see his home, City Well. After boundless forest Samsara saw City Well, she raised her head at the sky. I understand now. Boundless forest Samsara looked above her. She was trapped inside ordinary abyss, she was just like the miniman who were trapped under the well. The miniman raised their heads and saw the sky within the well. It was like the sky that boundless forest Samsara saw when she looked up at ordinary abyss. I have decided, I will work hard and get out of this abyss to meet with Father again. Boundless forest Samsara raised her fists, making up her mind. The miniman was overjoyed. Sure. I want to leave ordinary abyss and see the world outside as well. I see that there are many trees here in ordinary abyss, we can chop them down and make a ladder to climb up. Boundless forest Samsara gasped, looking at the miniman. Oh miniman, don't you have wings? Why can't you fly out? The miniman smiled bitterly. Oh human, I might have a pair of wings, but they are flimsy and weak. They can only carry me for a short distance. When I left City Well, I also used a ladder. So that's it, boundless forest Samsara realized. In the following days, she stayed with the miniman, chopping trees and creating a ladder. Trees were chopped down one by one, wisdom GU flew out from them. Boundless forest Samsara was shocked. Wisdom GU, why are you here? Wisdom is hidden in the ordinary, of course I can be here. Wisdom GU answered. Next, Wisdom GU said, you are all very smart, you know how to use the achievements of predecessors to escape from being ordinary. But if you too want to leave ordinary abyss, you need to build your own ladders and complete them alone. Otherwise, you cannot leave. Boundless forest Samsara quickly nodded. Oh Wisdom GU, thanks for reminding us, we will take note. She and the miniman made their own ladders. The ladders became taller and taller. Soon, boundless forest Samsara's ladder surpassed the miniman. The miniman's ladder was short and small, the distance between each step was also small. In comparison, boundless forest Samsara's ladder was long and tall. Boundless forest Samsara teased the miniman. Miniman, oh miniman, the ladder I make in half a day is as tall as the one you make in half a month. At this rate, when can you make a proper ladder to step on and escape from ordinary abyss? The miniman was helpless. I can't help it, I am already doing my best, but this is all the wood I can carry after spending half a day, while you only need one hand to carry this over. I need to use a long time to chop down a small tree, but you only take 3 swings. I am already doing my best to reach this extent. Boundless forest Samsara nodded. It is a pity we can only make our own ladders. The miniman replied. That's right, to leave ordinary abyss, we can use our predecessors' achievements, but we truly need to rely on ourselves. Let's continue working hard. Boundless forest Samsara and the miniman continued to chop down trees to make their ladders. Trees fell one by one. From within, Strength GU flew out. Boundless forest Samsara was shocked. Oh Strength GU, why are you here? Strength is hidden in the ordinary, of course I can be here. Strength GU answered. Boundless forest Samsara thought about it and asked. Oh Strength GU, can you give us any advice? Like Wisdom GU. Strength GU said. I have no advice to give you, but I can grant you great strength, as long as you give me your youth. Boundless forest Samsara fell into hesitation. Strength GU said. According to your current strength, when will you be able to build a ladder tall enough to escape ordinary abyss? Boundless forest Samsara thought. Very long, I will need 20 to 30 years. Strength GU said. Yes, by then, you will no longer be young, you will lose your youth and become middle-aged. Rather than that, you might as well give me your youth, even though you will become middle-aged, you only need a few years to build the ladder. Boundless Forest Samsara thought about it and nodded. You are absolutely right, Strength Gu, I will rely on you. Thus, Boundless Forest Samsara obtained Strength Gu. Her speed in building the ladder became very fast, she could chop more trees at once. A year later, her ladder was extremely tall. She stood at the top of the ladder and looked down. She saw that the trees were very small, the grass was a field of green, she was very happy, so when I stand at a high point, things that are big usually will become small. It is just like City Well. She looked down at the Miniman's ladder, it was very short, less than 1% of hers. She pouted. Boundless Forest Samsara walked down and said to the Miniman, why are you still so slow, my ladder is already so tall. The Miniman looked at her ladder in admiration, saying helplessly, I really admire you, your strength surpassed me to begin with, but now you also have Strength Gu, it is too bad that I have no help, I can only rely on myself. I have already tried my best, every day, other than eating and resting, I spend all my time building this ladder, but it cannot match yours. Boundless Forest Samsara nodded, that is natural. Another year passed. Boundless Forest Samsara continued to build the ladder even taller. She stood at the peak and looked down. The trees were like grass, while everything smaller than trees could not be seen clearly. She looked at the Miniman's ladder, even though it was taller than most trees, it was less than 1,000th of hers. Boundless Forest Samsara walked down the ladder, laughing at the Miniman, Miniman oh Miniman, stop wasting your efforts. Your strength is too low, you will not be able to build that ladder even if you spend an entire lifetime. You might as well use this time to enjoy your life. Actually, you are already very amazing, compared to those Miniman, you actually walked out of City Well, you should just enjoy your life now. The Miniman thought about it and shook his head, I am not satisfied with being ordinary. When I am not happy with being ordinary would be like an abyss to me, I want to go out. Even if I cannot succeed, I want to try, if I do not try hard enough, I will not be happy. Thus, the Miniman continued building his ladder. The third year passed. Boundless Forest Samsara's ladder was extremely tall. She stood at the peak and looked down, only to see that clouds were blocking her vision. She wanted to look at the Miniman's ladder, but she could barely see it, it was less than 1/10,000th of her ladder. Boundless Forest Samsara sighed, she felt lonely. When the wind blew, she shuddered, feeling cold. So when I stand at this tall point, not only will I feel lonely, I will also feel cold. Boundless Forest Samsara walked down the ladder and told the Miniman about this. The Miniman shook his head. My ladder is not tall enough, I don't know how you feel. Boundless Forest Samsara felt bored. She continued to build the ladder, but the time she spent on it was decreasing. Strength Gu asked her, oh human, why are you not building your ladder? Boundless Forest Samsara answered, the ladder is too tall and cold, I need to rest and regain warmth. Another year passed. Boundless Forest Samsara felt extremely bored. She was still building her ladder, but she was spending less and less time on it. Strength Gu asked her, oh human, why are you not building your ladder? Boundless Forest Samsara answered, the ladder is too tall, when I look down, I get afraid. I need to rest and let my heart calm down. Another year passed. Boundless Forest Samsara became even more lazy. Strength Gu asked her, look at the Miniman, he has never stopped building his ladder, he is giving it his all. If you continue being lazy, he will surpass you one day. Boundless Forest Samsara laughed, how can that be possible? One day of work for me is a month of his. How can he ever surpass me? Like this, years passed without stopping. Finally, one day, the Miniman found Boundless Forest Samsara who was resting under a tree, saying to her, oh friend, my ladder is at the edge of Ordinary Abyss, tomorrow, I will step out and leave Ordinary Abyss. Boundless Forest Samsara laughed, oh Miniman, don't lie to me, this is too funny. The Miniman shook his head, saying seriously, grandness and being laughable is merely an inch apart. But I am not laughable anymore, I am grand and can finally leave this Ordinary Abyss. If you do not believe me, watch as I leave. Thus, the Miniman started to climb his ladder. Boundless Forest Samsara was shocked at this, the Miniman was really at the edge of the abyss, he could leave if he continued like this. Boundless Forest Samsara shouted, oh Miniman, do you not feel cold? The Miniman said, of course, but I want to build my ladder and climb out of here. Boundless Forest Samsara shouted again, oh Miniman, do you not feel lonely? The Miniman said, of course, but I want to build my ladder and climb out of here. Boundless Forest Samsara shouted again, oh Miniman, do you not feel afraid? The Miniman said, Of course, but I want to build my ladder and climb out of here. After saying those 3 lines, a bright light flashed on his body, rapidly forming into a GU worm. My name is Perseverance, oh Miniman, thank you for giving me life. Perseverance GU thanked the Miniman. The Miniman laughed. Great, even though I do not have strength, I have perseverance. The Miniman said as he climbed out of ordinary abyss, stepping into the outside world. He first saw someone. It was Ren Zhu. The rate of time inside ordinary abyss was different from the outside world. Ren Zhu sighed as he saw the Miniman. This is Perseverance GU. What a pity, if I had it, I would have been able to conquer Reverse Flow River. Chapter 1277, Meeting of Ma and Zhao. Flood Extremity believed that Perseverance GU was only a GU worm found in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. But Black Extremity shook his head, saying, Perseverance Immortal GU is not a fictitious GU worm. In fact, it has existed before. Flood Extremity was shocked. How did I not know that? This was something I had learned while traveling Northern Plains. The person who refined Perseverance Immortal GU was the famous Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. He was the one who entered the door of life and death and brought Reverse Flow River out into the world. He was the first owner of Reverse Flow River. Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. Is that so? Then why is Reverse Flow River in the hands of old ancestor Shui Hu? Flood Extremity asked. Black Extremity shook his head. I am unsure about the details regarding this. What is going on? At this moment, there was a loud sound. Inside the fate-reversing refinement sub-formation, some mortal GU had exploded. The pillar of light that the sub-formation emitted also shrunk by 10%. This sudden change disrupted their conversation. Flood Extremity became nervous. A portion of the GU formation was destroyed, aren't you repairing it? Black Extremity shook his head. This situation is within my expectations. Even the fate-reversing refinement sub-formation cannot endure the might of Reverse Flow River, it will be destroyed. And this formation has a weakness. Once it activates, it cannot be repaired, unless the entire formation stops functioning. Flood Extremity frowned deeply. Reverse Flow River has not reached here yet, what do we do now? Black Extremity smiled. Don't worry, I created this formation, how could I not see this coming? In fact, there are benefits in destroying the GU formation. Flood Extremity was confused. The GU formation being destroyed has benefits. Every 10% of destruction would reduce our influence on Reverse Flow River by 10%. The back part of Reverse Flow River will return to normal and stop being drawn to us. That way, it will display its original might and wash out everyone and everything behind. Black Extremity explained. Incredible. Flood Extremity clapped and praised. His eyes were shining. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun are all at the front, that means, they will be the last to be washed away. Black Extremity nodded. Precisely. Inside Reverse Flow River. Lord Bai Chen Tian. 3 Central Continent GU Immortals greeted Bai Chen Tian. Bai Chen Tian nodded. At this moment, there were 5 people gathered around him. With the addition of these 3 and himself, there were 9 people. Did you see Ma Hongyun or Zhao Lianyun? The GU Immortals shook their heads. Then did you see this person? Bai Chen Tian described Fang Yuan's appearance and clothing to them. The Central Continent GU Immortals looked at each other. One of them said, I think I saw him, but I did not stop him. I was hiding behind a floating plank, he swam ahead without noticing me. Bai Chen Tian nodded. Lord, this person is not in our information, is he an ally or foe? Someone asked. The Central Continent GU Immortals were very perplexed, because Bai Chen Tian was a Grand Rank 8 GU Immortal, he would not ask for information about a Rank 7 GU Immortal for no reason. Speaking of which, Fang Yuan's cultivation level was not outstanding. Most of the Central Continent GU Immortals were Rank 7. But Bai Chen Tian's following words made all of their hearts shake. He is a strong foe. If you meet him, be very careful, I am merely on par with him in terms of physical brawling. The Central Continent GU Immortals nodded solemnly. What do we do now? Someone asked. We have many people with us, we will swim up and get rid of our enemies along Reverse Flow River, that would be the best outcome. Bai Chen Tian said this as killing intent surged in him. This was a good tactic indeed. The Central Continent GU Immortals were not the match of old ancestor Shui Hu and Purple Mountain True Monarch if they fought normally. Right now, they had lost edge linked camp, they were completely outclassed. The sudden change with Reverse Flow River gave them a good chance. Bai Chen Tian felt that, as long as they could make use of this opportunity, they might be able to get rid of their enemies in Reverse Flow River and obtain victory. What is going on? At this moment, a certain water path Gu Immortal among the central continent Gu Immortals felt a change in the river water. Next, these central continent Gu Immortals saw that the water of reverse flow river around them started to calm down rapidly from a turbulent state. Finally, the river flow slowed gradually, before starting to have small ripples. Large amounts of rocks and wild beast corpses, which were flowing along the river currents, were washed away rapidly. It was 5 times faster than the speed of flow earlier. How can this be? Some central continent Gu Immortals were caught off guard and were washed away by the river. In the blink of an eye, they were 300 steps of distance away from Bai Chen Tian. Bai Chen Tian was the first to react. Quick, swim, do not stop for even a moment, reverse flow river has returned to its usual state, if we stop for a moment, we will be washed away by the currents. He called out. Getting Bai Chen Tian's reminder, the remaining central continent Gu Immortals reacted and tried to swim earnestly. It is so difficult. The water is flowing slowly and smoothly, but it is actually many times harder than the raging tides earlier. These floating logs and corpses are annoying, they are blocking our paths. The central continent Gu Immortals quickly found that it was far more difficult to swim in this river that had returned to normal. What is this? The higher we swim up reverse flow river, the harder every step is. We need to persevere, we do not need to reach the upper part of the river, as long as we meet enemies, we can kill them. If we kill one rank 8 Gu Immortal, we will be able to obtain victory later. Bai Chen Tian raised the morale. The central continent Gu Immortals cheered in response. This way, reverse flow river is our opportunity. Lord Bai Chen Tian, look ahead, to the front, the river is extremely turbulent. Bai Chen Tian heard this and found something weird. He frowned. This was a nightmare. Swimming in this calm part of reverse flow river was much harder than swimming in the strong currents. At this rate, as time passes, when the central continent Gu Immortals met the enemies that were washed down by reverse flow river, they would already be exhausted and out of stamina. Quick, we need to get in front and swim in the turbulent water. Bai Chen Tian had a grave expression, he gave the most accurate instructions. The central continent Gu Immortals increased their speed in response. Fang Yuan swam in the river, he continued to pursue Ying Wuxie, but he could not find any trace. The river water was turbulent, huge waves were created from time to time. From within these waves, wild beast corpses and countless rocks would flow along them. The situation in the river was very complex. And most importantly, the river was very wide. Fang Yuan could not get on high ground for observation, even though he had good eyesight, he could not see much. However, he had found many Gu Immortals, among which, there were central continent Gu Immortals and also snowy mountain blessed lands peak lords. Fang Yuan avoided them all, he did not deal with them. Fighting these people would waste his time and would not reap any benefits. This river is too wide, I might have passed Ying Wuxie earlier while I was diving, I might be in front of him. This is totally possible. But Fang Yuan did not give up. Because Ying Wuxie had a higher chance of being in front. He swam with all his strength, moving agilely in the complex water like a fish. The sovereign immortal body gave him incredible eyesight, stamina, and his recovery speed was on par with rank 8 Gu Immortals, and most importantly, he had practiced his own incredible swimming ability. All these caused him to surpass many Gu Immortals. In contrast, Bai Chen Tian had to keep searching in the river for the other central continent Gu Immortals, he was at the very back. A leopard fox was swimming in the water, charging at Zhao Lianyun. The leopard fox was smaller than regular leopards, but it could swim, thus, even inside reverse flow river, it survived. Go away. Mu Linglan slapped as he killed the leopard fox which came. His other arm was grabbing onto Zhao Lianyun. Zhao Lianyun was a false immortal created with a phantom aperture, she had low foundation and barely any Dao marks. Without Gu worms, she was as weak as immortal. Thankfully, while she was inside reverse flow river, the rank 7 water path Gu immortal Mu Linglan was around her. With Mu Linglan defending her, Zhao Lianyun managed to survive until now. Mu Linglan was covered in water path Dao marks, he could actually breathe freely in water, he could also swim well. Along the way, he protected Zhao Lianyun and resolved crises, while swimming ahead and bringing her along. Quickly look, there is a mound in front. Mu Linglan killed the leopard fox and suddenly said this with shining eyes, there was a mound floating ahead in the river. This mound is made of float soil, no wonder it can float on water and not sink. We will go rest there. Mu Linglan dragged Zhao Lianyun along and climbed onto the floating mound with much difficulty. Zhao Lianyun was extremely tired, she was barely alive. Once she got on shore, she laid down on the mound and stopped moving entirely as she rested. Mu Ling Lan was extremely tired, he was breathing roughly. Wait, there's someone on the mound. Mu Ling Lan suddenly stood up with a ruthless expression. Calm down, calm down. A figure had to walk out of the forest on the mound. Mu Ling Lan saw this person and became stunned. Zhao Lianyun was frozen like a statue. Because the one who appeared in front of them was Ma Hongyun. All of the immortals were in terrible conditions, but Ma Hongyun was wearing clean clothes as he chewed on a half-eaten fruit. You are Ma Hongyun. Mu Ling Lan shouted in surprise. Ma Hongyun took a step back. Are you also here to capture me? Zhao Lianyun tried her best to get up, as she stood shakily. She looked at Ma Hongyun, her throat was moving but no voice came out. As the price for using Love GU earlier, she had been using GU worms to speak, but inside Reverse Flow River, no GU worms could be used. At this moment, Zhao Lianyun finally saw the lover that she had been thinking of for so long. She was extremely agitated, she took a step forward. But at the next moment, she hesitated. How did she look like now? She was clear in her heart. She was no longer young, she was an elderly woman. Her hair was white, her face had deep wrinkles, and she was dry like a twig. In this appearance, could Ma Hongyun recognize her? Could she meet her lover in this appearance? Could she bear to let him see her like this? Zhao Lianyun lost all of her courage. She lowered her head, she did not dare to look at Ma Hongyun's eyes. Zhao Lianyun was hesitant, but she suddenly heard Ma Hongyun call out, You are Lady Xiaoyun. Zhao Lianyun's body shook. She raised her head, only to see that Ma Hongyun had thrown away the fruit as he ran towards her. Lady Xiaoyun, Lady Xiaoyun. I miss you so much. Ma Hongyun shouted loudly. Mu Ling Lan saw this and felt a lot of emotions, he explained. Fairy Lianyun became like this because she rushed here from Central Continent to save you. Lady Xiaoyun, Ma Hongyun grabbed Zhao Lianyun's hands as he stood before her. He was also unable to speak, his words were choked in his throat. At this moment, Zhao Lianyun felt, this was truly immense bliss. All of her sacrifices were worth it. Boom, a loud sound was heard in the fate-reversing refinement sub-formation. Flood Extremity was no longer surprised, after taking a glance, he looked away. During this period, the GU formation's pillar of light had shrunken by 50%. This GU formation is quite interesting. Right at this time, a voice entered Flood Extremity's ears. Who is it? Flood Extremity was shocked, his GU immortal aura burst out as he prepared to use his powerful methods. Little one, don't be afraid, and don't make a move. The voice said again. At this moment, Flood Extremity could not move. He felt like he was in a frozen river. This person was powerful beyond imagination. He was a rank 7 GU immortal, one of Longevity Heaven's 8 extremities, but he could not react before he was suppressed completely. You are the descendant of Master, as long as you do not attack me, I will not eat you. He, the voice said again. Next, Flood Extremity saw a huge, hill-like beast revealing its figure in front of him. This was a four-legged beast with purple fur. It looked like a ferret. It was covered in shiny purple fur, its eyes were shining with a purple crystal-like color. The most eye-catching thing was its tail. This was not a ferret tail, but a dog tail. A giant ferret with a dog tail. Flood Extremity was stunned, before he thought of an existence. Indeed, at the next moment, South Desolation Immortal's letter came from an information path GU worm in his immortal aperture. He could not leave now, this giant beast was sent here to help, it would deal with any enemy who dares to obstruct Longevity Heaven. You are the dog-tail life-extending ferret. Ancestor Giant Sun's steed, Flood Extremity stammered. The giant beast nodded before opening its mouth, speaking, Stop calling me a steed, I have my own name too. I am Mao Li Chu, you can call me Grandpa Mao. Mao, Grandpa Mao. At the other end, Black Extremity was also tongue-tied, he was still in great shock. Okay, forget about this GU formation. Let's go to Reverse Flow River and retrieve Ma Hongyun and that love GU. The dog-tail life-extending ferret, Mao Li Chu, slashed with its claws. Intense winds blew, countless GU worm auras were exposed, forming an immortal killer move. The fate-reversing refinement sub-formation that Black Extremity had created with much difficulty broke apart, turning into rubble. Black Extremity's eyes almost popped out. Stop stammering, is it very fun to disrupt my sleep? Quickly finish this business, your Grandpa Mao has to go back to sleep. The giant ferret, Mao Li Chu, said this as it breathed out deeply. This breath flew rapidly, tying up Flood Extremity and Black Extremity. The giant ferret jumped and its huge body flew into the sky. Beside it, Black Extremity and Flood Extremity were pulled along by the special breath, going towards Reverse Flow River. What is going on? The sudden change in Reverse Flow River affected all of the GU Immortals in it. After an intense change, the entirety of Reverse Flow River calmed down, the river water became smooth flowing and had small ripples in it. Reverse Flow River went back to normal. Fang Yuan's eyes shone brightly, he felt the pressure intensifying in the river. There was a large amount of junk unable to move on their own, they were washed down by Reverse Flow River. Seeing this, at once, many GU Immortals chose to go downstream and leave Reverse Flow River by getting to the end. This was the only way to get out of Reverse Flow River. The situation is not looking good. Fang Yuan had not found Ying Wuxie and gang, he continued moving forward. In the sky, Bai Chentian and the other Central Continent GU Immortals were looking down at Reverse Flow River. These people were originally trying to swim forward, but Reverse Flow River kept returning to normal as the sub-formation was destroyed. Bai Chentian saw that this was not going well, he could continue, but the other GU Immortals could not, they went downstream and left Reverse Flow River, flying towards the sky after they got out. But this way, they became outsiders, any methods used on Reverse Flow River would be reflected back at them. Bai Chentian soon found Fang Yuan, who was inside Reverse Flow River. Our fight can be disregarded, as long as you hand over Affection Immortal GU. Bai Chentian spoke to Fang Yuan. This is the rank 7 GU Immortal who could fight evenly with Lord Bai Chentian. How did he cultivate? The other Central Continent GU Immortals looked at Fang Yuan with shock and curiosity. Fang Yuan laughed coldly, he ignored Bai Chentian. One of the Central Continent GU Immortals flew into a rage. Such audacity. You dare to disrespect Lord Bai Chentian. Bai Chentian snorted coldly. You think I can do nothing to you if you hide inside the river? Before I get washed away, you should worry about yourselves. This is not Central Continent. Fang Yuan replied fearlessly. Bai Chentian's key concern was pointed out, his face turned cold as he ignored Fang Yuan, he started to move in the upstream direction. Fang Yuan was a small matter. What was important was Zhao Lian Yun and Ma Hong Yun. Because the dog-tail life-extending ferret destroyed the sub-formation, the complex situation at the surface of the river became easily observable now. The junk was all swept away, only some GU Immortals were left in the river. Mu Ling Lan, Zhao Lian Yun, and Ma Hong Yun were at the front. The second group were Old Ancestor Shui Hu, Purple Mountain True Monarch, and Lady Wan Shou. The third group was rank 8 GU Immortal Wei Ling Yang, as well as some other Central Continent GU Immortals. The fourth group was Ying Wuxie and gang, as well as some Snowy Mountain Peak Lords. And the fifth group was Fang Yuan alone. When he was swept into Reverse Flow River, he was too far from Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, thus, he had fallen to the back of the river, even though he tried to swim upstream, the others were also working hard. Honestly speaking, the situation was quite interesting. Quick, swim forward. Mu Ling Lan looked at Old Ancestor Shui Hu and Purple Mountain True Monarch who were close behind, he spoke anxiously. The floating mound earlier was already swept away. Ma Hong Yun and Zhao Lian Yun had to swim forward to avoid getting captured by Old Ancestor Shui Hu. The second group of Old Ancestor Shui Hu and Purple Mountain True Monarch were chasing after Ma Hong Yun to capture him. The third group including Wei Ling Yang also did not want to give up. As long as they stalled Old Ancestor Shui Hu and Purple Mountain True Monarch, Ma Hong Yun and Zhao Lian Yun would have the chance to go downstream and the crisis would be resolved. Ying Wuxie and the Snowy Mountain Demonic Path GU Immortals also had the same idea as Wei Ling Yang, they were at the back but there was still hope. Quickly look, to the back. He Lu Lan suddenly alerted. Ying Wuxie turned back and looked, his heart jumped, he actually chased us to this place. This river was calm now, there was no junk left, everyone's field of vision was clear, thus Ying Wuxie easily saw Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan still did not know about Purple Mountain True Monarch. Even though he could see Old Ancestor Shui Hu at this position. Purple Mountain True Monarch was a miniman, he was the size of a thumb and was sitting on Old Ancestor Shui Hu's shoulder, it was hard to see him clearly. Fang Yuan had no idea what happened in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Even though he met Bai Chentian, he had only understood that a battle of rank 8s happened here, as for who had the advantage, would Bai Chentian tell him. Thus, Fang Yuan had always thought that killing Ying Wuxie and gang would resolve his crisis regarding Shadow Sect. Therefore, after seeing Ying Wuxie, his eyes shone as he swam even more quickly towards Ying Wuxie. He is our enemy, a Snowy Mountain Peak Lord sneered at Fang Yuan, let's work together and kill him. Outside, the situation is complex with countless GU Immortal methods available. But here, he is all alone, he is just one person. Once he said that, the GU Immortals were ready to attack. Ying Wuxie was moved too. If they could kill Fang Yuan now, and obtain his sovereign immortal body, it would be a great opportunity. However, the sovereign immortal body is not easy to deal with. I should meet up with Lord Purple first. Our main body is still in the dream realm after all. Ying Wuxie thought about it and decided to play safe. Come with us, we will meet up with Ancestor Shuihu. He is not important, our biggest enemy is Central Continent. Ying Wuxie did not expose Fang Yuan's foundation, he successfully diverted the attention of the Snowy Mountain GU Immortals. That's right, let's meet with Old Ancestor. Snowy Mountain's peak lords could not go downstream now. Because a rank 8 Central Continent GU Immortal was in the sky. Once they left Reverse Flow River, they would need to face off against a rank 8 GU Immortal, they had to stay in Reverse Flow River for now. But soon, they realized that it was not easy to stay in Reverse Flow River. In this special environment, if they could not move forward, the river would push them backwards. In the past, Renzu had failed in Reverse Flow River, he had failed at the final step before success. Nobody thought that they could achieve what Renzu did. But in this situation, every wave of GU Immortals had their own reasons to remain in Reverse Flow River. Ma Hongyun, you cannot escape. Old Ancestor Shui, who had a cold gaze as Lady Wan Shou smiled continuously. Quick, quick, they are catching up. Mu Linglan and Ma Hongyun dragged Zhao Lianyun along from either side. Fairy Lianyun, hang on, we are going to reach soon. Wei Lingyang shouted. Ying Wuxie was behind them, waiting to strike. He felt a headache regarding Fang Yuan at the back, he needed to move forward more quickly, to fight for more time later. Ying Wuxie. Fang Yuan was shortening his distance with Ying Wuxie. Soon, the first person to be unable to persevere appeared. It was one of Snowy Mountain's peak lords. He had used up all his stamina, he floated backwards with a pale expression. Fang Yuan avoided him. Now was not the time for that, if he stopped for a moment, he would be pushed backwards as well, even if he killed the enemy, his progress would be greatly affected. Be careful. In the sky, Bai Chentian shouted. I finally caught up, you little rats. Old Ancestor Shui, who was already right behind Zhao Lianyun's group. Zhao Lianyun knew that she had no strength left, if this continued, she would only burden Ma Hongyun. She gave Ma Hongyun one last affectionate look, she suddenly mustered her strength and broke free from his grasp, swimming towards Old Ancestor Shuihu instead. Chapter 1279, Fervently Approaching Death. Mu Ling Lan. Behind Old Ancestor Shuihu, Wei Lingyang shouted angrily. Mu Ling Lan was already resolved, he gritted his teeth, moving even more quickly than Zhao Lianyun, he pushed the weak Zhao Lianyun into Ma Hongyun's arms. You have to live well. Saying this, he turned around and grabbed Old Ancestor Shuihu's waist. Old Ancestor Shuihu struggled intensely, but he still stopped moving forward and was pushed away by the river. The danger for Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun was averted. Quickly go. Ma Hongyun held on to Zhao Lianyun as his heart beat rapidly. Meddlesome fool. Old Ancestor Shuihu hated Mu Ling Lan to the core, he kicked Mu Ling Lan's chest several times in the water. His Dao marks far surpassed Mu Ling Lan's. Mu Ling Lan was rank 7, how could he possibly match him? Soon, his bones were broken, he was spitting out blood, dyeing the water red. More than 10 breaths of time later, Mu Ling Lan could not take it anymore, he stopped breathing as he lost his life. Seeing that their companion had died like this, the Central Continent GU Immortals were all anguished. Mu Ling Lan, Central Continent will remember your sacrifice, Heavenly Court will remember it. Wei Lingyang called out, charging at Old Ancestor Shuihu. Old Ancestor Shuihu was stalled by Mu Ling Lan, he had fallen behind to the third group. He was immediately attacked by the furious and upset Central Continent GU Immortals. Shuihu. Lady Wan Shou was worried about her husband, she quickly went to help him. Both sides fought for a while, they were pushed backwards and quickly encountered Ying Wuxie and the others, who were the fourth group. As a result, a large number of GU Immortals were fighting in this river, it was a chaotic scene. Bai Chentian and the rest were watching in shock. Grand GU Immortals had lost their sagely demeanor, they were fighting in the water like brutish mortals. But it was too late for Bai Chentian to interfere now. Soon, blood dyed the surroundings as many GU Immortal corpses flowed down the river. Ying Wuxie. Fang Yuan joined the group, he had finally arrived. Where is our lord? Ying Wuxie finally found Old Ancestor Shuihu amidst the chaos, he asked this loudly. Upstream, old ancestor Shuihu answered. It turned out that while old ancestor Shuihu and Muling Lan were fighting, Purple Mountain True Monarch had swam upstream to capture Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. Precisely because of this, old ancestor Shuihu could fight with the Central Continent GU Immortals. This was his plan to obstruct the enemies. Ying Wuxie got his answer and quickly swam with He Lu Lan and the rest, away from the fighting as he went towards Purple Mountain True Monarch. Fang Yuan called out, Ying Wuxie, where are you going? Ying Wuxie sighed, saying, Tai Bai Yunsheng. All of you leave first. Tai Bai Yunsheng shouted. He charged at Fang Yuan with a resolute expression of someone disregarding death. Fang Yuan was obstructed. Ying Wuxie, He Lu Lan, and Bai Ningbing managed to escape. Bam bam bam. Fang Yuan's attacks were powerful. Tai Bai Yunsheng soon had broken bones and fractures. But Tai Bai Yunsheng was resolved. He stalled Fang Yuan and grabbed onto him. He even used his teeth to bite and head to slam. Fang Yuan could not break free for a period of time. In this urgent situation, he exclaimed, Old Bai, do you still remember Imperial Court Blessed Land? Tai Bai Yunsheng was stunned. He exposed a flaw. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with a ruthless light. His fingers pierced into Tai Bai Yunsheng's eyes without mercy. Tai Bai Yunsheng was heavily injured. Blood was pouring out of his eyes. Fang Yuan used this chance to unleash the finishing blow as Tai Bai Yunsheng stopped moving entirely. He was dead. HMPH. Fang Yuan shrugged off Tai Bai Yunsheng's corpse as he continued to swim, chasing after Ying Wuxie. During this period, the groups with old ancestor Shuihu and Wei Lingyang were engaged in fierce battle. They had finally separated as both sides suffered great losses. Bai Chentian looked at Reverse Flow River from above. He could see the situation clearly. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were still at the lead. Purple Mountain True Monarch was at the second position. Ying Wuxie and the other two were the third. Fang Yuan was fourth. Old ancestor Shuihu and Lady Wan Shou were the fifth. Wei Lingyang and the other Central Continent GU Immortals were sixth. Bai Chentian was anxious. The Central Continent Immortals were in an extremely disadvantageous position. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were in front, but there was no longer anyone protecting them. The second-placed Purple Mountain True Monarch was an enemy, while Ying Wuxie and Gang were vicious members of Shadow Sect. The fifth-placed Old Ancestor Shuihu and Lady Wan Shou were also out of the question. Without any choice, Bai Chentian could only approach Fang Yuan. You just need to protect the lives of those two in front. You will obtain the friendship of Central Continent and Heavenly Court. You can request anything. Do you want immortal GU or cultivation resources? Will my great Central Continent not be able to satisfy you? As long as you help to protect Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. This again, Fang Yuan heard this and sighed internally. He thought of Imperial Court Blessed Land. Back then, he had to make a choice too. If he chose to save Ma Hongyun, it would have been extremely profitable for him. And now, the situation was quite similar to back then in Imperial Court Blessed Land. But Fang Yuan remained silent. He only continued swimming. He was bent on eliminating Ying Wuxie and Gang now. Forget about Ma Hongyun, he could bugger off. But what followed was a long stalemate. The further one traveled up Reverse Flow River, the harder it was to keep going. Stamina and Dao marks were secondary. It was a test of one's will. Lady Xiaoyun, we need to persevere. I believe that there will be a chance. Ma Hongyun continued to speak, encouraging Zhao Lianyun. The river water was icy cold, but inside Ma Hongyun's embrace, Zhao Lianyun felt immeasurable warmth. This warmth was a huge driving force for her. She gritted her teeth and persevered on. Behind them was Purple Mountain True Monarch. Ma Hongyun, Zhao Lianyun, hee. As long as I catch you, I will be able to restrain old ancestor Shuihu. At that point, I will get him to deal with Southern Border's Super Dream Realm. Purple Mountain True Monarch was planning deeply. Protect Lord Purple. Ying Wuxie was worried. Dear, wake up. Something happened to old ancestor Shuihu's group. Lady Wan Shou had fainted. She was heavily injured in the battle. After enduring and persisting for a while, she fainted. Old ancestor Shuihu was flustered. He gritted his teeth and stopped swimming. He carried Lady Wan Shou as Reverse Flow River swept them away. Wei Lingyang allowed him to leave. They wanted to have one less competitor. Old ancestor Shuihu quickly left Reverse Flow River. He used his GU Immortal methods to stabilize Lady Wan Shou's condition. Bai Chentian was nervous. He could not deal with old ancestor Shuihu alone. The GU Immortals around him, without any immortal GU houses, could not interfere in a rank 8 fight. I will kill you first. Old ancestor Shuihu carefully placed the unconscious Lady Wan Shou in his immortal aperture. Next, He charged at Bai Chen. He was the #1 person in Northern Plains' demonic path. He was a ruthless person. How could he give up this chance to deal with these weakened opponents? It's only death at worst. Bai Chen was resolved to die. He neither evaded nor dodged. But right when the two rank 8s were about to fight, they felt an intensely strong aura. The hill-like dog-tailed purple ferret carried Flood Extremity and Black Extremity, as they arrived at the bank of Reverse Flow River. Chapter 1280, Perseverance. Outside Reverse Flow River. Old Ancestor Shui who wanted to kill Bai Chen, but at this moment, the dog-tail life-extending ferret, Mao Li Chu, appeared. Why is this ferret here? Doesn't it stay inside its cave all the time? Old Ancestor Shui who was surprised. This ferret had a huge origin. It was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's steed. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had subdued it in his later years. His motive was clearly to find a lifespan extension method. The dog-tail life-extending ferret's Dao marks were very numerous and mystical. As it grew older, the dog tail would shrink as its lifespan decreased. When its lifespan nears its end, the tail would vanish. Thus, whenever it sensed that its life was ending, it would devour an immemorial desolate beast dog. After consuming it, the dog-tail life-extending ferret would gain the lifespan of this immemorial desolate beast dog, its tail would grow out and it would continue living. Precisely so, even after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable died, the dog-tail life-extending ferret still lived until now. This giant ferret was enlightened by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. It gained intelligence and learned to use GU worms and even immortal killer moves. It was an immemorial desolate beast to begin with. Now that it had wisdom and could use immortal GU and other methods, it had unfathomably deep strength. Even Old Ancestor Shui who was wary of it. Old Ancestor Shui who had wanted to deal with Bai Chen, but with the dog-tail life-extending ferret's appearance, he discarded this plan. To think that Mao Li Chu would save me. Bai Chen let out a breath of air. He relaxed slightly. He also knew about the dog-tail life-extending ferret. Immemorial desolate beasts of this level were too famous. It was like Central Continent's Huokong, or that evil dragon Di Zhang Shang. They were unique existences. Their battle strength was at the peak of rank 8. Old Ancestor Shui who quickly focused his gaze on the two Longevity Heaven GU immortals accompanying the dog-tail life-extending ferret. Old Ancestor Shui whose gaze focused on Black Extremity. He chuckled coldly. As expected, Sun Minglu, you are a member of Longevity Heaven. To think that Longevity Heaven had targeted me since so long ago. He had already made a guess earlier. Now that he saw Black Extremity, it was confirmed. Black Extremity greeted Old Ancestor Shui who respectfully. Old Ancestor Shui who, we meet again. I am one of Longevity Heaven's 8 extremities. Black Extremity. Sun Minglu is simply a name I use when I travel in Northern Plains. Old Ancestor Shui who chuckled coldly again, but he did not attack. Because Black Extremity was beside the dog-tail life-extending ferret. It was not like Old Ancestor Shui who feared Mao Li Chu, but he knew that the crux of this issue was not the three of them, it was the events in Reverse Flow River. With the situation in Reverse Flow River unconfirmed, it was not time to fight. A third party would benefit if he did. After Black Extremity and Old Ancestor Shui who exchanged greetings, their gazes became fixed on Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. Grandpa Mao, the two at the front are our targets. Black Extremity reminded the dog-tail life-extending ferret. Bai Chen frowned slightly. Old Ancestor Shui whose cold laughter became even colder. But Mao Li Chu nonchalantly curled its lips. Its beast face made a very human-like expression. No rush. Wait for them to decide a victor. We are outside Reverse Flow River. We can use GU worms but we cannot affect the river itself. Any method used on Reverse Flow River will be reflected back upon us. Why would I waste my effort? Reverse Flow River would only lose some water when it reflects an attack. This river is huge. How long would it take to dry out this river? I would not do something so time-consuming and pointless. Saying this, it paused before saying, don't worry, these people can't continue for long. The further they swim, the more it tests their will. They are swimming in Reverse Flow River. Any thoughts of persevering in this river would be reversed by the river. Any sort of determination would waver. They would eventually be washed away by the river. The three rank 8 existences were wary of each other. They did not fight. Outside the river, there was a deadlock. The GU immortals thus looked towards Reverse Flow River. Inside the river, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were still at the lead. Purple Mountain True Monarch was second. He was inching closer to them. Ying Wuxie, Bai Ningbing, and He Lulan were third. Next was Fang Yuan. The fifth position was originally Old Ancestor Shui Hu and Lady Wan Shou. but earlier, old ancestor Shui who had given up the contest for the sake of his unconscious wife, he went outside the river. Thus, the fifth position went to Heavenly Court's Rank 8 Rule Path GU Immortal Wei Ling Yang, and several Central Continent GU Immortals. Purple Mountain True Monarch moved with all four limbs, flapping his thin wings at times. Ma and Zhao were already close by. I need to persevere and capture these two. I will be able to control old ancestor Shuihu and deal with Central Continent. Purple Mountain True Monarch was filled with determination. Reverse Flow River's water continued to assault the will in his mind. He shrugged his head, trying to get rid of his hesitation. 90,000 years ago, heavens will attacked. I deduced with all my effort and found a trace of hope for survival. By sealing myself, I turned into a purple gold rock. But to think that heavens would still harm me and I would go into a crazy state at times. These last 100,000 years, I woke up many times and experienced great danger. I only escaped from danger and survived with Shadow Sect's help. Right now, my main body refined sovereign immortal aperture, but it was stolen from us. My main body is stuck in the dream realm, being in great danger. The Great Shadow Sect is just a shadow of its past. I cannot fail in this situation. I need to persevere. I need to capture Zhao and Ma. I am about to succeed. Purple Mountain True Monarch's eyes were shining. He was extremely close to the two. Oh no, Purple Mountain True Monarch is about to reach Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. The Central Continent GU Immortals were shocked. Old ancestor Shuihu and Ying Wuxie had expressions filled with joy. What do we do? Flood Extremity shouted. Nothing. Mao Li Chu rolled its eyes. Unless they come out. Ah, but at this moment, Purple Mountain True Monarch suddenly grabbed his head as he screamed. He struggled intensely as he showed intense pain on his face. What is going on? What happened? The immortals were perplexed. At this very moment, damn it. Ying Wuxie internally cursed heaven's will. At the crucial moment, Purple Mountain True Monarch fell into madness. He went downstream with the currents. Thankfully, Ying Wuxie and gang were following Purple Mountain True Monarch as insurance if he went crazy. He quickly grabbed Purple Mountain True Monarch as the four swam upstream together. Thus, Ma and Zhao escaped from the dangerous situation. They were still in first place. Purple Mountain True Monarch had fallen behind, becoming second place with Ying Wuxie and gang. Third was Fang Yuan, and fourth was Wei Ling Yang and his Central Continent GU Immortals. Lord Wei Ling Yang, it all depends on you now. Bai Chen-Tian was overjoyed. The Central Continent GU Immortals also started cheering. It was good news to Central Continent that something happened to Purple Mountain True Monarch. Especially those GU Immortals who did not know Fang Yuan, they felt that right now, only Central Continent's Rank 8 Wei Ling Yang was left. Even though he was in last place, he could still win. Wei Ling Yang was gritting his teeth. The difficulty of swimming was rising, and more importantly, the reverse flow river was affecting his every thought. Any thoughts of persevering and swimming ahead would be obstructed by reverse flow river. Many thoughts were washed away, but there was one thought that was rooted in Wei Ling Yang's mind. I need to persevere. I am the only hope left in Central Continent. If we capture Ma Hongyun and save Zhao Lianyun, we will be able to return victorious. I cannot fail. Central Continent's pride, Heavenly Court's honor, they cannot be lost because of me. Wei Ling Yang swam ahead stably without any hesitation. The GU Immortals around him also followed. These GU Immortals formed the biggest force in reverse flow river. It was eye-catching. Even the dog-tail life-extending ferret, Mao Li Chu, said, oh. It seems that Central Continent has a huge advantage. HMPH, Heavenly Court still likes meddling so much. This will not do. Ma Hongyun is a northern plainsman. Bai Chen-Tian frowned. He looked at Mao Li Chu, and old ancestor Shuihu whose face was cold as ice. He was worried. Even if Wei Ling Yang defeats the competitors and obtains Ma and Zhao, what will happen after he leaves reverse flow river? Bai Chen-Tian thought from all angles. He could not find a way to escape. He could only continue watching. Time passed by the seconds and minutes. The situation was still the same in reverse flow river. Ma and Zhao were first. Ying Wuxie and gang were second. Fang Yuan was third, and Wei Ling Yang and the other Central Continent GU Immortals were fourth. The positions did not change, but their mutual distances had evidently shrunk. Oh, these people have all lasted until now. Strange, why are there so many outstanding people here? The dog-tail life-extending ferret, Mao Li Chu, quipped. As expected, the great era is coming. In an era which would create a venerable, a great number of geniuses and talented individuals would emerge like a tide. Bai Chen-Tian's eyes were shining too. He was assessing the Central Continent GU Immortals, and memorizing their faces. These people had firm determination. If they grew without any accidents, they surely would be important pillars of each sect. Persevere. The mission of protecting Fairy Lian Yun is in my hands. I cannot give up. Bu Gen Zi frowned. Just like refining GU, no matter how tough it is, or how unpredictable the results, as long as I persevere, I will be rewarded. Yu Yizi encouraged himself. Shi Zhengyi had an angry expression. Lord Mu Linglan was sacrificed to protect Fairy Lian Yun, how can I back down? Work harder, Shi Zhengyi. For the sake of love and justice, you cannot back down. Fang Yuan was expressionless. He stared ahead at Ying Wuxie. Such a close relationship, that rank 8 Miniman Gu Immortal who went crazy must be a member of Shadow Sect. I must kill him, I must eliminate them all. Inside Reverse Flow River, it is the best opportunity for me to eliminate these threats once and for all.